Well. We are live. Hope everybody is having a wonderful Friday. The Xbox 2. What is this episode number? I don't know. 289. 289. Almost 290. Almost 300. We've made it another week, and we are happy that you're here with us. I'm one of your hosts, Rand Thor 19, the man with a million. And as always, we have Managing Editor, Windows Central, Jez. I don't finish any games courting.
That's not.
You like my nickname for you?
Man, us younger gamers, Gen Z gamers, such as myself, we don't finish games. We finish battle passes, Rand.
Is that what it is now? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm in my early 20s and shit, and you're like pushing 60. So like, we just do things differently in Gen Z. No cap, for real, bro.
For real.
Oh god, I hate myself.
You should hate yourself.
I hate myself. How are you, Rand? That's enough with the self-loathing and the cappage. The zero caps on this illustrious.
Dude, what are you talking about? This is the Xbox Cap podcast. Didn't you know?
Xbox Cap podcast.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because all we do is cap for Xbox 24/7. We're basically unpaid marketers. You know. Microsoft.
Right, sure.
I mean, did you get your talking notes from Phil today and Xbox PR about the things we can say and the things that we should downplay?
Yes. So Phil, yep, got him right here. So downplay Brazil price hike for Series S.
Yeah.
Downplay, upplay. Is that a word? Well, it is now. Upplay the amazing Xbox Partner Showcase. Brilliant partner showcase for real, zero cappage. And downplay, I don't know. What else do we downplay? Downplay Redfall.
Downplay Spider-Man 2's success. Upplay Spider-Man 2's bugs.
Yes.
And we need to also upplay the turmoil going on at PlayStation.
Yes, upplay the turmoil. So yeah,
these are the cliff notes. You know that we get handed out every single week. We're not capping about that. You know, literally, I have a PR email here from Xbox, and they're just like, if you say these things, we'll give you $1 million. And so every week we do it because it's we need to feed our families. So
yeah, we need to feed our family. We need to feed our families, gold bullion, bars of gold bullion. No cap for real. Rand on God.
You know the funny thing about it is we should probably mention that. Obviously, we're just having fun. None of that's true, and because I know somebody is probably. You have to because somebody is going to listen to this out of the thousands and thousands of people who eventually will listen to this episode, and they'll just be like, "Are they telling the truth? I knew it." And then they'll get clipped across the internet, and people will talk about and see. I told you, Microsoft and Xbox and these influencers can't be trusted. They just admitted to getting and it's just like, yo, it's a joke. Calm down. Like there's, I don't know, whatever. You never know how people will take the thing. So you have to make sure to be like, none of that's true, because definitely. We won't be downplaying the Brazilian price increase, because that's kind of like, what the F, mate? What's going on?
That's kind of WTF, bro.
Yeah.
And I have actually put in a request for comment into Microsoft. So if they email me back during the show, we'll read out exactly what they've got to say about it. First of all, I've confirmed that it's okay. They've confirmed that it's real, but they have not given me a statement on why.
Yeah.
Any statement as to why you guys?
We did it because we can, and we'll get to all that because we have a lot here to talk about in this week's show. We're gonna be talking about the partner preview. We're gonna be talking about Xbox making them power moves. Matt Booty, Sarah Bond getting promoted. Some of the stuff going on that Jez was even telling me about. Essentially what it means yesterday, because I was like, we need to understand this, and Jez is like, I don't understand it. I'm like, well, you need to understand this because people are going to be asking us for tomorrow, and so
yes.
Jez even told me some things that I didn't even realize, and I haven't really seen any. Yeah, you did about the marketing stuff.
Oh right, yeah.
Which
the Consumer Services Org.
Yeah, I didn't know because guess what? Because when it comes to Microsoft, the only thing I care about with Microsoft is Xbox. So like any of the other things that they do, I couldn't give two shits about.
Well, bro, pretty much all of Microsoft is Xbox now. Like Xbox, like next quarter when they do their quarterly earnings, Windows is going to be this little blip, and then Xbox is going to be like boom, huge masses of revenue, and Windows is going to be this little blip. Surface is going to be this even tinier little blip, and then it's going to be like Office and Azure and Xbox. So like Microsoft is full and officially a gaming company now. Xbox is no longer a footnote on a little spreadsheet that says, "Oh, and by the way, we do a little bit of gaming on the side." No, Rand, no. I'm hammering the gavel like the
gavel,
the Speaker of the House. That's constantly in the news in the UK, and I don't know why, because I don't know what the House is in America, and I don't know why that has to be news in Britain. But anyway, yes, Xbox, good. Send me $1 million, Microsoft. Thank you very much. But we should probably press on. Press on, Rand.
We should. So we do have a lot to get to. If you guys could do us a huge favor, make sure you hit the like button. Helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe. We're ever so close to 101,000. We keep on moving on, And let everybody know that we're live. It's Friday at 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Although clocks are changing soon here, at least for me. I want to say next weekend. I believe clocks go backwards on November 5th. So I believe that's next Sunday. So I think
our clocks go back a week earlier, so we'll be an hour closer for 1 week.
I think I want to say clocks go back. And you know what? I'm kind of weird because I know people get this sort of thing.
You can just stop the sentence right there. I'm just kind of weird.
I am just kind of weird, but what it really is weird is I actually like it when the clocks go back and it's like pitch black at 5 p.m.
It's because you're
I've always liked that. I liked it when I was in high school, when I was a kid, when I was out of college. I don't know. I just like the idea because it's like I don't know.
Because you secretly want to be Batman.
Well, no, because my favorite time of the year is always fall. Always fall. Like I love fall, and there's this whole thing in my mind.
About fall.
There was this thing in my mind always with like that time of year where you'd be out with your friends. And it's pitch black out, and you're like, man, it's got to be getting late. Got to go home or whatever. And then you look at the time, and it's only like 7 p.m. And you're like, bro, I still got 5 more hours. And that's because the clocks turn back, right? So like to me, having it like pitch black at 5 o'clock is great. I love it. I've always loved it. And I didn't really care for when it was light until 8 p.m. And I know I'm in the minority on that one. So
yes, you are. Yes, I think you are. I mean, I'm quite fond of. I don't like summer. I was complaining about the heat the whole time, but I'm not really fond of it being dark all the time. But hey, I don't go outside anyway, so it's all.
You don't go touch grass?
Huh?
You don't touch grass?
I do not touch grass ever. I hate grass.
What you do, what Jez does, guys, as he told me about this earlier, he gets like Subway every day.
I'm addicted to Subway.
He loves Subway sandwiches.
I love Subway. Yes. No, not sandwiches.
Not sandwiches?
I have tuna wraps.
Tuna wraps.
I have this cream tuna, man, and like I don't know what they put in it, but it must be opioid because it's so addictive. I'm addicted to these tuna wraps at the minute. They're so damn nice. Calories aren't so bad either, unless you have like 10 of them a day, like me. Shit. But I don't really have 10. I have too many though. But yeah, Subway is good and expensive, and that's why I got no money. But alas, that's a completely different topic.
That is a completely different topic. So, you know what? Let's get into the housekeeping section so we can move on and get into the wonderful topics that we have prepared for everybody. So, Jez,
keep some houses.
Is this podcast sponsored by anybody?
This podcast is indeed sponsored once again by the amazing people at Manscaped. That's right, guys. We're brought to you today by Manscaped. who has taken a step up from Halloween to bring your face the cleanest shave it's ever seen. So this season, no need to toil and trouble. Manscaped's new handyman has all the best to wet. What is the best?
Man, Jez, you've been off your game. You've been completely off your game last couple weeks. What's going on?
Breathe. Manscaped's all-new handyman is the best way to get rid of all that stubble. Featuring a compact design and next-gen skin-safe technology, the handyman was designed to give you that smooth finish without the mess of a traditional shave. Get the sweetest treat this Halloween by going to manscaped.com and use code XB2 for 20% off plus free shipping. It may be spooky season, but you don't want to scare people with a scraggly beard. Give them something to look at with Manscaped's handyman. Are you tired of a bad razor making your neck look like a scary movie? With the handyman skin-safe technology to help remove nicks and cuts, you can finally feel confident when going for that close shave. And for all my wolfmen with a little more scruff, Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit has everything you need to tame your mane. This cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths all with one guard, so no more drawers full of extra add-ons collecting cobwebs. Get 20% off, free shipping with the code XB2 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. For a look as sweet as candy, get yourself the handyman from Manscaped. And they also have, Rand, a brand new lawnmower coming out, Lawnmower 5.0, which is currently being delivered. And I will regale you with my experiences of this epic new toolage for ball trimmage once I get my balls on it in the next couple of weeks. But yes, it is awesome. And, you know, Manscaped's brilliant. They don't just do razors. They do shampoo and conditioner, which I love, actually. My hair is silky smooth. You can run your fingers through it, Rand, if you feel so inclined. And also all kinds of beard products now. So if you've got a big-ass beard like me, you can make sure it's all nice and trim and proper with the fine folks at Manscaped. 20% off and free worldwide shipping at Manscaped with our code XB2 in the checkout. Check the link in the description on the podcast services and on YouTube. And, you know, thanks to Manscaped for rocking with us for how long now, Rand? It's got to have been...
It's 2 years, I think.
2 years?
Yeah.
2 years of Manscaped support over at, you know, and it's you guys too. So when you guys, you know, invest in Manscaped, it supports the channel. So thank you guys so much as well. And yeah, thanks to Manscaped for sticking with us for 2 years. 2 years of Manscaped. So many testicles we have helped to groom on this show.
That is true.
That's the hard reads.
We do have a question from Zillion. I think I saw this before too. He says, "Guys, on the podcast with Maddie, you said that Indiana Jones is a trilogy. Was that confirmed?" Now, the podcast he's talking about was Xbox 2+1, the Patreon show. That's officially up on Jez's channel for everybody to watch. We did get to, you know, have a great discussion with Maddie, and we talked a little bit about those Bethesda leaks that happened with the great Xbox leak of 2023, where literally all of Xbox's plans for the next 5 years and whatever all came out, right?
That was an epic leak.
Is it confirmed that it's a trilogy? Obviously no, because it's a leak. But in that leaked documents, it did say that Indiana Jones, at least when that document was made in 2020 of like the next 5 years of Bethesda games, you know, it was mentioned that Indiana Jones was had 3 planned games. Now, is that still the case in the year of our Lord 2023 when Indiana Jones' first game hasn't even come out yet and probably is not coming out next year? Probably looking at 2025. Your guess is as good as mine. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, Indiana Jones was supposed to be out what? Was it this year or was it last year? At least according to those documents. I think it was this year.
I don't even know. I don't even know, but plans can change, and it will ultimately depend on how well the game is received. If the game is terrible and nobody likes it, much like the recent Indiana Jones movies, it probably won't get a sequel. But I think like they envision it to be a franchise, and they've must have an agreement with Disney for 3 games if things go to plan. So,
well, Nate Dogg says in the chat that it's not a trilogy. It's the 3 titles we're referring to mobile.
No way. Indiana Jones mobile game?
That's what Nate's saying. I guess that's possible. I don't know.
Maybe
there was
I
like a
need to go
mobile
back and check.
was a mobile section on the right hand side that had the mobile games that Bethesda was making, and when it says 3 planned titles on the right hand side would fall under that column. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could potentially read it as that they were going to make 3 mobile Indiana Jones games.
My knowledge of those leaks is kind of iffy because all that went down while I was at Iceland, and I haven't really had a chance to research it properly and like check some of the extra details. So maybe when things are a little bit quieter in November, I'll go back and we'll start digging into which parts of that old document, because it is old now. We're pushing 4 years old. We're pushing towards. I'll go and see which aspects of that document is still accurate in the year of.
Well, I don't think it was only just me who may have misinterpreted it. I think it was literally like all the websites out there ran with the same thing, that it was 3 planned games. But we do have another question from the one and only Tom Henderson in chat.
Tom Henderson,
owner of Insider Gaming.
This is about GTA. This is about GTA 6.
GTA 6. Yes, Tom, you know when it's launching, right? You know when like the reveal trailer is happening, right? Everybody should DM Tom and try to get details from him.
No, Rand. He said on his Twitter that people should DM me, and every day I'm getting like a bunch of people messaging me GTA 6 when.
GTA 6 when?
Yeah, stuff like that. Like
Tom wants to know if
is this game popular or something?
I guess so. He wants to know if the Brazilian Xbox Series S price increase is a mistake. Tell him now.
No, it is not a mistake. Microsoft PR has actually emailed me during the show and confirmed to me that the price increase is real, and they also referred to me to the statement that Xbox Brazil gave the biggest Xbox Brazilian blog. So I can translate the statement over here, and it's a bit of a weird statement. So the statement is, in the coming weeks, we'll update the Series S to have a suggested retail price of 3,599 Brazilian monies, whatever that is. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. We will continue to provide great games, value, and options for players in Brazil so they can play how and where they want. What kind of statement is that? But that's the statement they gave to Xbox Press in Brazil, and that's the statement Xbox PR seems to have linked me to. So yeah, it's real, it's true, and it's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it in more detail in a little bit after Rand has done his housekeeping.
Yeah, because we got the wonderful people at patreon.com/XB2. And, this past month we had John Linneman on, and we also had Mr. Matty Plays. Those are both up on Jez's channel to check it out. And we're looking to have 2 people again for November, just depending on...
Yes.
On people's availabilities and stuff, so stay on the lookout for that. And we might do an Xbox 2 Ultimate as well, depending on availability. Because Jez is a busy boy. Like, if it was up to me, I could do an extra podcast every single week for sure. But Jez is a busy boy. He's a manager, Windows Central, got a lot of responsibilities. So
I'm actually currently in negotiations to change.
Negotiations, okay.
Yes, negotiations change my responsibilities. So maybe, hopefully, in January, I'll have more time. And if I do have more time, then we'll do more Patreon shows and Patreon timed exclusive shows, because we don't want to force people into Patreon.
Well, I mean, there is the Patreon exclusive show, but
yeah, there is a Patreon exclusive show, but that's a community show kind of thing. But if we interviewed, I don't know, just someone famous on the Patreon, we wouldn't make that exclusive to Patreon. Was my point, you know?
Yes.
Even though it would make a lot of money, but we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be like, I don't know, some of these other influencers out there.
Who you calling out? Who you naming and shaming? What's going on?
I was trying. I don't know why. My brain was trying to weave in a little news. This is completely off topic and out of pocket right now.
But my out of pocket? No, please. You're not bringing up her, are you?
Yeah.
No. Oh my God! Really?
I was trying to weave in somehow into the narrative. The news. Oh man, I don't even want to say it really.
You get demonetized. We don't want to get demonetized.
Yeah, Amaranth, famous influencer Amaranth, who was on Twitch but now on Kick. is making a beer.
Don't say it. But how's she making the beer though, Jez? Don't say it.
Google it. Google it. I'm not.
No, guys, please don't Google it for your own safety. Just like put the podcast on mute or something, because seriously. And the funny thing is, there are people who buy this stuff and drink it non-ironically just to be like, like, let's not talk about that.
And then everyone in chat knows what we're talking about. But anyway, I digress. Where were we? We were
about to do the shout outs for our wonderful patrons who have signed up at that tier.
Do some shout outs.
We got Peter B, Mo Spankin, Saucy Mods, James Wiseau, Trickster for Trade, The Grandest of Bip, Chris Parneast, Devrica, Hey Blinken, The Bearded Tate, Sleets XZ, Battered Haddock, Armor Dude 52C, Mr. Butter Jeans, William Schumacher, Ryan Kipple, Foreign Object, Mythic Marty, Tyler, Gunstar 75, Moronic Donkey 99, C Money Mario Kart Madman on YouTube, which, by the way, I think didn't you just do a show? You had a little interview with Jez Corden about his life and stuff. I did watch it, and you couldn't remember how the name of this podcast started. I was very disappointed. I knew when he asked you, you weren't going to remember because you have a horrible memory, and you were like, Rand probably knows, and you're like, goddamn right, Rand knows. I remember everything.
I remember. You'll have to tune, because you're going to go on his podcast.
Yeah. But for anybody who's new, who's listening, because we have 101,000 subscribers to the channel, and there's always new people discovering the show. I always get questions like, why is your name Randall Thor 19? Or how did you and Jez start the show, right? There's always people who are always interested in how this sort of stuff worked. But for anybody that doesn't know where the name Xbox 2 came up, it is a play off of the generation we were in, the Xbox One gen. And at the time, people were thinking about like the next Xbox console, calling it Xbox 2. But Ashtray Gaming, member of the community, because we put out, like, in the first episode, we were like, what should we call the show? And then Ashtray Gaming was like, you guys should call it the Xbox 2, because there's two of you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like, people were calling the next Xbox at that point the Xbox 2. And it was like, yeah, let's just take that on. We're the Xbox 2. And there you go. That's the story.
Great story.
Yes.
A+.
So, we have Makazilla, Randall Thor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, Elijah Vasquez, James Moore, Fantasticals, Halo is the franchise player, K-Chirax, Ricky Fallon, Bright Trunger 1, Joseph Campbell, John Riccatello left Unity for PlayStation, Mr. Joanna Dark, Justin Duel, Frank Mariano, PB Roking, Justin Miller, Asa T and Madison, Untidy Tim, Grizzy Mofo OG, Governor Grimm, DZ Huffin, Justin Sego, Andrew Courtney, Wagaman Achievement, The Scarecrow 121, Darren Tropey, Prof. JJJ, Butterball 8, Ghostface Killer, Wolfgang KPC, and Ralph Wiggum, I believe, are all the shout-outs at that tier. So thank you to Manscaped, and thank you to the wonderful Patreon supporters of the Xbox 2. And let's get... You know what? Let's just, since we've already talked about it, I'll get to the super chats and all that stuff after this. Let's just talk about the Brazilian price increase right away, shall we? Since we've already broached the topic, might as well just talk about it right off the bat, right?
Yeah, sure.
So
let's do it.
Xbox always has this weird thing where they'll have a good week, or they'll have a couple really good announcements. Like this week was pretty good, right? You had the partner preview, which nobody expected. You had Xbox like reorganizing their whole structure and promoting people to new positions, and Satya talking about doubling down on gaming, and everything was looking good, right? Like, people are excited about the future. The teams were visiting, Blizzard. There's memes of Phil looking, like, so happy. I think I sent you the meme where it was, like, May 2023, it's over. And it's, like, Phil looking all depressed during the kind of funny Redfall thing. And then, like, October 2023, and it's, like, Phil in the glasses smiling with his tongue out, being like, essentially, we won. So how times can change, over the course of months, how we started, how we're going, sort of stuff. And it's like everybody's, this is great. And then lo and behold, Friday happens. And what always happens on Fridays, sometimes bad news. Because bad news, they always want to bury that shit on a Friday for whatever reason, right?
Smart. Sadly.
But yeah, so today we got wind that in Brazil, one of the countries where Xbox does pretty well. You know, for the most part, Xbox does pretty well in the US and the UK, and less so in the rest of the world. And Brazil's one of the countries that has really sort of adopted Xbox. I don't know if it does better than PlayStation, but it does pretty well. And yeah, they decided to increase the price of the Xbox Series S by 40%.
Yes,
which is a crazy increase. Like normally you see, you know, price increases that are, you know, $50 or whatever, and the percentage increase isn't that much. And with their statement, which Jez had read out earlier, and the price increase, you have to wonder why they did it, and then you have to think, well, are they just giving up in the region?
It's crazy. I can't. I'm trying to like figure out the reason, right? Because I know, like, I'm not that familiar with the political or economic situation in Brazil, especially with regards to currency value and price fluctuation and stuff like that. I know Brazil has tariffs on certain goods coming in.
Import taxes on electronics and all that stuff. Yeah, like there's crazy inflation going on in Brazil. So
that's the thing. It's not that crazy. It's not that crazy. Yeah, it's not like Argentina. Argentina has some crazy inflation, right? And that which is next door. But Brazil's inflation right now, the inflation rate's not that much. It's not out of step with the rest of, you know, the developed world or whatever. It's 5% or whatever. So it's nothing to do with that, I would think. But there's another thing, like currency values can also impact exports and imports, right? And if like the US dollar is worth a lot more than usual right now, and I am by no means an economic dude, so some of this stuff is completely lost on me. But the 3,599 Brazilian reals is about. It's over $700.
Yeah, if you converted it to
if you convert it directly. So I'm kind of like wondering, dude, like I don't know. Without having Microsoft willing to offer us, Microsoft's not willing to offer us any information on background. They gave us like this sort of canned PR statement, which doesn't tell us anything. And the fact that it's like the Series S costs as much as a PlayStation 5 digital is just ridiculous, considering the PlayStation 5 digital is orders of magnitude more powerful than the Series S. So I'm not sure how they expect to be able to remain competitive in this scenario. So yeah, I don't know how to take that. That's just dumb.
Well, you know what's also weird is they're not raising the price of the Series X. The Series X price didn't even raise. It's just literally the Series S.
So how much is the Series X?
I don't know how much the Series X is. I'm just saying it's only the Series S, and I think it's only the 500 gig model and not the black 1 terabyte model. I could be mistaken on that. I'm sorry, I don't know much about the Brazilian Xbox market, but like reading that from that website, it seemed like it was just the
It is. It's just the Series S.
It's just the Series S, and I think is it just the 500 gig model?
I don't know.
And not the black 1 terabyte model?
No. I don't know, man. I can't tell from my vantage point right now.
Because we do know at least according to Microsoft's internal documents that leaked, we do know that the Series S, the white Series S that's 500 gigabytes, is getting essentially phased out next year, end of line, right? End of life, essentially. And replaced with another version.
So the Series X in Brazil is $800. Okay. So at that point,
so Series X is 800 and the Series S is 715. What is that? And it's not a typo. This because Jez got confirmation straight from Microsoft that this is a real price increase, and their statement to the blog was sort of implying that, I don't know, like it seemed like there was kind of one of those things where like they might be giving up on the market, but then maybe they're raising the price because they know. I don't know. Because look, if Microsoft had raised prices by 40% in the US, people would fucking flip their shit.
Yeah.
Because a 40% price increase here in the Series S to $299 is what? $1 million. I mean, 50% is 150. So just say that's an extra $100. So it would go up to, it would be, $399 essentially, $400. People would go crazy if they did that anywhere else. If they did it in the UK, if they did it in Europe.
Well, Brazilian fans are not taking it well either.
I know they shouldn't be.
My Twitter. I got a huge barrage of DMs right now.
Oh, actually, people are saying the Series X in Brazil is $1,000, Jez. $1,000 US, not $800.
Ooh. Okay, that's a lot of money. Well, my hypothesis was going to be like, if it's almost as much as just buying an Xbox Series X, could they be phasing out the Series S? Because like one of the contentious issues of our time is that the Series S is causing developers all kinds of issues, and maybe Microsoft's just like, maybe we should just reduce supply of the Series S and just go all in on the Series X. But if it is the case that the Series X is just way more expensive, to the point where it's cost prohibitive to get one in Brazil, then I guess not. Man, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. There must be something going down in the.
All right, you know what we need to do? Sarah Bond, you're the new head of Xbox president. I would imagine this falls under your purview. Sarah Bond needs to
platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know Phil's the CEO of gaming, but this would be falling under Sarah's purview as president of Xbox and her responsibilities. We need to get some answers because it doesn't make any sense. They raised the price in literally just Brazil and literally just the Series S, and nowhere else, and no other countries, and there's no increase on the PlayStation side of things. And Microsoft has this grand vision of, getting 3 billion players, but it always seems to me that there's just some places they care about and some places they don't. I mean, you've gone on and really rattle-sabered around like Microsoft's poor whatever, you know what I meant. Like, you basically bang the drums about how Microsoft's like poor localization efforts. Their poor localization efforts. Shut up, Jess. And yes. And it's like, you want to reach 3 billion gamers, you want to like dominate gaming, and this is one of those things where you just scratch your head. Now, granted, I'm not running the business. I don't have all the charts and the figures. I don't know what's going on in Brazil. Is it import taxes? Is it inflation? Do you have other plans that you're not just willing to talk about yet? So it's like you raise the price here, but there's a good reason because there's another version coming in that's going to be cheaper, sort of things. We're just kind of reacting, but on the face of it, like, this is an awful move that's going to alienate the entire country.
Region.
And it's like, it's not a good move.
Brazilian Xbox fans are super engaged. They are super, super engaged. So like, this kind of news is going to, it'll reverberate around the community. And I don't know why. I don't know. I just can't figure it out for the life of me. Can't figure it out. And then the fact that Xbox PR wouldn't really give me any background information on it is also a bit weird. So I don't know. I'm stumped, Rand. Yeah. I'm speechless.
I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry for my Brazilian Xbox brothers and sisters. I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah.
I guess eventually they're gonna have to say something. They're gonna have to, give some sort of reasoning, and we'll see how that.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, maybe they're phasing out that version of the Series S because we know there's supposed to be another one coming. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they're not getting rid of the Series S. I know a lot of people are hoping that they just get rid of it. I know you're reaching there, but they ain't getting rid of it, even if it causes developers issues because they're not everybody has all the time or the money to actually get every version up or whatever. So, yeah. But let's take a look at some of these super chats, see what people are saying. We have Big Fresh 37 says, "Will Xbox care about fixing Overwatch? Jez, does Overwatch need to be fixed?"
Overwatch has some issues. I think Microsoft's pretty aware of it. Like, and I think Blizzard's quite aware of it. I don't know how you solve the issues with Overwatch right now. Personally, I haven't played Overwatch for a while.
What
I'm
are you
just
playing right now? You playing Diablo?
I'm playing Diablo right
Diablo
now.
4, ladies and gentlemen, during the podcast. And whenever we do a on-camera podcast, which will happen, I'm a man of my word. It's just a matter of when I buy a new PC and buy camera and lighting and stuff, that'll happen. Jez won't be able to play video games because I won't let him. Because because I've watched you enough times on other people's podcasts. Like, let's take a look at Xbox era, where your camera's pointed straight up, so the entire time you're shifted off in a different angle and you're looking straight up. That ain't happening on Xbox 2, bro. Like, we're gonna have to,
bro.
No, it's not.
I get it, bro.
Because if we're gonna do a camera podcast, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look. We may not look good. I mean, you're a handsome man with your beard and everything. I'm ugly as all hell. But either way, like, with the lighting and the camera, we're gonna make it look good. There's gonna be no Jez Gordon staring at the ceiling, playing Diablo 4, clickety clack. So, like, no more playing video games for Jez. It's gonna be just the cameras and the lights shining bright on him as he gives his opinions about Xbox and everything going on here. So it's gonna be a tough transition for Jez, which is maybe why we only do it once a month, because playing video games, that's not gonna happen on the Xbox 2 camera podcast, Jez. Sorry.
Yes, it's fine. Like, my TV is too high up where I am, so like when I am looking up, my TV's too high. I saw it on Gazzy's podcast. It looked really silly. So yeah, we won't be doing that when we go on camera. But anyway, with regards to Overwatch, I like this. There is something fundamentally weird about Overwatch, and I don't know if it's like the cadence of content is too slow, and the meta's kind of static and boring. And I really don't think 5v5 was a good move for the game. I really don't. Rand, can you still hear me?
I hear you, bro. Yeah, what's up?
I've been disconnected from Diablo, so my internet might disconnect. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I still hear you, so you're good. Maybe it's just maybe someone at ABK's listening to the show and they just nuked your account. That'd be great.
Maybe. But yeah. But by the way, my internet's been really spotty. So if I cut out, I'll be back in like 2 minutes or something. Right. My internet just goes down and comes back.
I got you covered.
But anyway, Overwatch. Yeah, fundamentally, Overwatch has a live service problem, basically. I don't think 5v5 was. Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
I don't think 5v5 was good for the game. I don't think the pace of content's been very good. The new maps and modes and whatever they've added hasn't been very interesting. Even the skins aren't very interesting. Like, I don't feel compelled to play the game. And they added that Lilith skin, which was like $25 or something, and that was like the most interesting thing they'd added in a million years. And it was like, oh my god, it's $25, and it's Lilith skin from Diablo. So I just kind of feel like there's a generalized lack of vision for Overwatch right now, but I do think Microsoft's aware, and I think Blizzard's aware, and I think hopefully, because one of the things I'm really hopeful with regards to Blizzard is that the shifting priorities will hopefully allow for more creativity and experimentation and innovation. I think under Activision's shareholder culture, everything was engagement based, and there was sort of like a resistance against experimenting or investing in growth. And I think there was too much of like, let's just keep this ticking along as it is until it dies. And that was kind of Activision's thing, right? They kind of did that with Skylanders, and they were like, let's just keep it ticking over until it dies. They did it with Guitar Hero. Let's keep it ticking over till it dies. And that's kind of like Activision's whole thing, So I want to hope that Overwatch will get more creativity, more investment, and all the games, to be honest. Like, the fact that Heroes of the Storm got a patch, clearly they were working on that for a while. But I want to believe that Microsoft, like, over the summer was, talking to Activision and being like, hey, we're quite interested in Heroes of the Storm coming back. Maybe you guys should invest in updating it once in a blue moon. I want to believe that kind of stuff. But honestly, we won't know for sure for the next however many million months. We just need to wait and see how it all plays out, man. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while before we see the hand of Xbox really make a difference to Blizzard.
Also, speaking of Blizzard and Overwatch, the BlizzCon full schedule has come out.
Yes, it has.
And the
It's
opening keynote is literally 2.5 hours long.
That is insane.
And it's followed by, you know, like, do you actually have the whole schedule up? Because I saw it, but I didn't save it.
I do, but I'm currently there's fire raining on me. And I'm also just tweeting now, Microsoft has hiked the price of the Xbox Series S. Xbox Series S by 40% in Brazil for no reason.
Okay, send tweet. But either way, so BlizzCon is happening.
Let's find BlizzCon.
BlizzCon's happening next week. There's like a whole bunch of there's Overwatch stuff, Diablo stuff, but the opening ceremony is 2.5 hours long, which is really long. So everybody's sort of speculating that the reason it's that long is because they're going to announce Odyssey and that maybe have a panel about it afterwards. Is that a good is that something people should be thinking about and speculating on, Jez? It seems that may be the case.
I do think that we're gonna see some new stuff, and man, this is tough for me, around because I know things.
Okay, you know things. Okay,
and I think
guys, it's tough for Jez. He knows things.
I know things, but I don't want to spoil things.
Okay.
But I will say, I think Xbox fans will want to watch it.
Well, I mean, what about PlayStation fans? Would they want to watch it as well?
Probably not.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is that implying that Odyssey might be an Xbox exclusive?
No. I don't know about that. But
well, I mean, how could you say Xbox fans might want to watch it, but if it's also multiplayer, then why not PlayStation fans?
You just have to watch and find out, Rand.
Well, bro, the way you just said that would imply a certain direction.
I'm not implying a damn thing, bro.
But you just said you know. This is what Jez.
I know things, but I'm not implying anything.
Jez does not say that. He just says, "I don't want to." Because I know things.
Look, Rand. Look, Rand.
I'm just.
I know things, but I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
I don't want to leak a show like this. It's fun surprises. But I do think Xbox fans will want to check in at least for the opening ceremony. But but anyway, the BlizzCon epic schedule is as follows.
Okay.
And I've loaded it up. November 3rd. Opening ceremony, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours for an opening ceremony. That Xbox's E3 showcase is, even with the Starfield Direct, was what? Like an hour. It was like an hour and a half. And their longest one ever was like an hour and 40. Like most showcases are. This is 2.5 hours. Damn, bro, that's long. It's as long as most movies, or longer than most movies. What has Blizzard got cooking?
Well, yeah, I've heard good things, but anyway, and then so like you would think, right? You would think like, okay, in that 2.5 hours, right? They've got to have like a ton of stuff with regards to their main games, like World of Warcraft, Diablo, and whatever, right? But no, Rand, because after the opening ceremony, we get an hour of World of Warcraft news.
An hour of World of Warcraft news. You'll be in heaven, and everybody else will be in hell. Yes.
Well, we'll see about that. But anyway, World of Warcraft news, and then we get an hour of Overwatch news. And then we get an hour of World of Warcraft Classic news.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of like, an hour for WoW Classic? That is intriguing. Because like, what do you do really with WoW Classic? I mean, they've shipped Wrath of the Lich King. I don't think anyone wants Cataclysm Classic. I could be wrong, but I don't know where they could take WoW Classic from here. They've shipped all the Classic expansions, so like, what do they do? I don't know. We find out. Then we've got an hour of Hearthstone. What's next? So presumably some new cool modes coming to Hearthstone. Then we've got a little bit for Warcraft Rumble, which is their new mobile game, which is launching that week too. It's like a vertical tactics game on your phone. It looks pretty fun, casual kind of tactics game. And then November 4th is an hour and a half of World of Warcraft again, and then another hour of Overwatch 2, and then 2 hours of Diablo 4. And then community stuff, and then a K-pop band that's doing a performance. So that is a lot of chunky, beefy stuff coming to the WoW the BlizzCon docket. There's the opening ceremony. I would presume will have announcements. So like, I imagine this is what's going to play out for the opening ceremony. They're probably going to debut Odyssey, which is the survival game. It's sort of Fable-esque kind of Pixar. It's like Valheim meets Pixar meets Fallout 76, but Overwatch's engine first person. It looks really cool, man. From what I saw of it, it looks really cool. So there's that. And then we've got the new WoW expansion will be announced. They always announce the new WoW expansion, the last patch for World of Warcraft shipping. So we're going to get the new WoW expansion, I would expect. I reckon, Rand, they'll announce the new Diablo expansion.
Okay.
They'll say what the first Diablo expansion is going to be launching next year, because they said they're going to do a big story expansion for Diablo every single year. That's what they've committed to. So I reckon we'll get the first paid expansion for Diablo announced, and then maybe they'll announce the next season after Season of Blood, so Season 3 maybe as well. Maybe they're going to announce some major stuff for Overwatch, but I doubt it. I don't know. I think Overwatch is probably going to be a little bit more low-key, but hey, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll be like, oh, actually, we are going to do the campaign mode that we promised, because that's what pissed everyone off, really. I think a lot of people fell off from Overwatch because they announced the whole story mode for the game, and then they cancelled it, and a lot of people were really, really sort of pinned their investment on Overwatch on that campaign mode. I mean, I know a few people who just like, when they canceled campaign mode, I was just like out. I was gone. Felt betrayed. I was gone, and then went off and played somewhere else. And maybe they're gonna do something cool like that, or maybe more likely, probably not. And then maybe there's gonna be some surprises. Maybe they'll announce, some new games. Who knows? Every year, people are like, what about StarCraft? What about Heroes? What about this and that or the other?
Wasn't there some Heroes of Storm update coming too, or something that happened?
Yeah, there was a big balance patch for Heroes of Storm, the biggest in a long time, dropped on the public test realm. So like, maybe they'll be like, actually, we're going to spin up Heroes of Storm development again. I doubt it, but that's the dream, man. That's the dream. But there's a lot of cool stuff that could happen. There's a lot of.
And what are the dates on this? What are the dates? When's it happening?
November 3rd and November 4th, and then.
So that is that is Friday and Saturday next week.
Yeah, next weekend.
Bro, so wait, are they live when we're live next week?
Oh,
I mean, they are, because they're all day.
Yeah,
but I would imagine the opening ceremony would be over, right? At least.
Oh yeah. So when we go live, it'll be during the Overwatch 2 deep dive and WoW Classic. No one cares about that. So opening ceremony and World of Warcraft will be done. So then we can go straight from BlizzCon into the podcast. And this is the first BlizzCon as a Microsoft show, Rand.
As a Microsoft show, yes.
And you'll want to watch it. If you're an Xbox fan in the Xbox community, you'll want to watch this show. I'll put that out there.
Yeah. So if you're an Xbox fan, tune in to BlizzCon Friday next week to watch the opening ceremony, and then immediately switch to Xbox 2 with Rand and Jez.
Yes. For our reactions.
Yes, for the reactions, everything. So hit the like button, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's move on. We got some more super chats. We got Supernova saying, "Camera when?" Randall Snore. Soon. Probably. I mean, my goal is by the end of the year. Sin Vendetta says, "Happy Friday, Rand and Jez. Do we think we will ever get a remake of Warcraft 1 and 2 and maybe a console release? I love both those games." Well, I'll leave that question up to you, Jez.
Like, I think World's Edge has been doing a good job revamping like Age 2 and Age 1 and stuff. I imagine like to revamp Warcraft 1 and 2, it'd need like a bit more work. But hey, maybe they can do it, I'd love for that to happen. I think Warcraft 1 and 2 have great lore and great stories, and would be a great games to get the sort of classic treatment. Diablo 2 Resurrected was so cool. Maybe they do Diablo 1 Resurrected as well. Like, I'd love to see that stuff. So yeah, maybe that'd be really cool. We'll see.
We have King Rhodes with a $1 super chat. Thank you. William Karuna says, "Will Xbox bring anything to the TGAs this year, Jez?" Well, I think every single week we get this question about, hey, what is Microsoft doing at the TGAs? Are they planning anything? And it's one of those things where we just don't know. I mean, they could be, but then, just last week, nobody knew that Microsoft was doing a partner showcase, right? Just like last year when everybody freaked out that Xbox wasn't at the TGAs, when everybody expected them to be because they had such an awful year first party wise. People were like, well, at least we'll see something at TGAs. And the TGAs came and went, and there was nothing from Xbox, and people freaked out, only to then be like, started hearing rumors of Microsoft doing their own show in January, which turned out to be true. We had the, developer direct. So Microsoft seems to be gearing up for a lot more news beats throughout the year, instead of just focusing on one in the middle of June and being like, hey guys, we have E3. Here's an hour and a half of stuff, and we're going to talk, and we're going to show some games, and then maybe we have something at the TGAs, and that's it. That's it for Xbox. And maybe in the past that worked because you didn't really have a lot of games you were putting out, and the games you were putting out were all sort of geared towards the end of the year. But that doesn't work now. That doesn't work when you have 15 studios, Xbox Game Studios. It doesn't work when you have 8 Bethesda studios, or how many Bethesda has, right? 7, I think, for 22. And it doesn't work when you also own ABK at this point, and you have like 34 studios, 32, and some of those have multiple teams. Like, you have basically games falling out your ass at this point, so you definitely need a lot more coverage. Now, of course,
I mean, in that memo, that internal memo with Phil, it was like, we now have 13 $1 billion franchises.
Yeah, 13.
Really,
yeah.
Puts into perspective, right?
Can you name the 13? What the 13 are?
No.
I mean, Halo, Gears, Forza.
I'm not even
Age of Empires,
PUBG,
Flight Sim,
Blinks,
Call of Duty, Overwatch, World of Warcraft,
Pokemon.
I mean, that's like 7 off the top of my head. Or yeah.
I'm not even gonna try, man.
There's a lot. 13.
There's a lot. There's a lot of stuff.
Diablo, I would imagine, is one of them. Diablo.
Yeah.
That's its 8. Yeah. So there's a ton. So Xbox at the TGAs. I mean, yeah, they could show Hellblade if they wanted to. There was, people sent me something about how it was in some LinkedIn posting, and how basically Hellblade was at like end of production and essentially in shipping cycle or something. And I mean, it's one of the things me and Jez have talked about last week when we talked about the marketing. We talked about the Xbox Sphere and that new commercial that they were pushing where, Senua and Hellblade 2 was featured very prominently in Xbox marketing alongside games that were already out, like Starfield, Cyberpunk, Forza Motorsport, and stuff like that. And it sort of gives the impression, at least, that the next big game from Microsoft is Hellblade 2, and it's coming sooner rather than later. So if Microsoft could easily be like, all right, here's a trailer for Hellblade 2 with the release date, or they could save it for their own developer direct if they wanted to do one in January and showcase Towerborn and Hellblade and maybe something from Avowed and maybe announce another game or whatever. You're not really beholden anymore to having your announcements at any specific show, especially if you're doing more of your own. So, I don't know. It's Bethesda maybe might have their own announcement they want to share, or maybe ABK, probably not. But either way, it's not
it gives them an opportunity to just keep the hype train going and keep Xbox in the news cycle and start to create this impression that they've just got mountains and mountains of unmissable FOMO generating content, because that's pretty much what they're going to have with, when Bethesda starts popping off properly and we start getting your Dooms and your Elder Scrolls and then like maybe we start getting Blizzard games exclusively on Xbox. Like maybe we do get Warcraft 1 and 2 remastered exclusively on Xbox. Maybe we do get a StarCraft shooter spin-off exclusively on Xbox on console. There's just going to be mountains of content. And where do you announce all this stuff? BlizzCon is obviously for Blizzard, but then you've got Call of Duty, which won't have a PlayStation marketing deal anymore. That's going to be 100% at Xbox's show every single time now. The game has totally changed. We are in completely uncharted territory. It's gonna, go back to the way things were during the 360 days, where it's like, you tune into Xbox to see your favorite game because they usually have the marketing deal. And then like you end up seeing a bunch of other stuff that you want to get invested in and stuff like that. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be really, really exciting. There won't be any weird Connect dancing segments or Just Dance influencers or whatever at all. It's just going to be full blown games, full steam ahead. like that partner show, which was pretty much just games. Like really cool and really well done, I thought.
Yeah, so let's
uncharted territory.
Yeah. You know what? You want to yeah, let's just keep on going. I guess we'll talk about the partner preview after we're done with the super chats and talk about that. And because some people really liked it, some people didn't, some people hated it, some people thought, what was the point? I did see social media in general seem to be pretty positive about it. I know Jeff Keighley's poll was mostly B's, but it was like B was number 1 and A was number 2. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. We have the Grand Bip saying, hey, Rand and Jez, when are we getting a new Windows Phone and Scalebound return? Oh, there. As always, always a mention of Scalebound during an episode. But, hey, you had to have been pretty happy to see Satya admit that they made a mistake canceling the Windows Phone, huh?
Yeah, I did. I was
You're
quite
vindicated,
happy,
right? Vindication.
Yeah. Like, for those who don't know, Satya Nadella had an interview with, I think, was it Business Insider? I'm not sure off the top of my head. But actually, no, I think it was a regional magazine or something. I can't remember exactly where he said it. But Satya was basically like, yeah, the interview was like, can you tell us about a strategic mistake? And Satya was basically like, oh yeah, canceling Windows Phone, basically. Paraphrasing slightly. But that felt like vindication, man. And who knows, maybe he'd be like, you know what, it was so much of a mistake that we need to invest $50 billion into rebuilding it. Right? Right, Rand?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah? Yeah? No?
I mean, I had a Windows Phone, but I wasn't sad when it went away at all. So
I was sad, but also like, I get it. Deep down, I was like, I get it. There's no apps. When like games like trending apps like Snapchat and Pokemon Go, when they weren't on Windows Phone, I knew that was it. It was dead. Snapchat came out and Windows Phone didn't have it. That was it. It was the end, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It was the end, even though I don't know anyone who uses Snapchat now. It's kind of funny, really.
We have Approaching Nirvana. It says, hey, fellas, I don't get the chance to watch live often, but I always enjoy the podcast. Thanks for all the content. Keep up the great work and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, buddy.
We got Lao Shimazaka. I'm probably butchered that name. He says, is Japan also getting affected by this? Our currency currently is also undervalued. At least not right now.
Is that what it is? For now, it doesn't seem so, but yeah. I don't know. I think Microsoft might be testing the waters for something. But it's hard to tell. Brazil's usually an outlier with price fluctuations.
They tend to raise their prices in Brazil and only Brazil. Before, so
there's some kind of weird tariff stuff going on with Brazil and electronics, and I don't know the full details about it. I need to do a bit more research and find out and give guys a definitive answer. But it sucks if you're in Brazil and you want the ecosystem to be strong, because a strong ecosystem means your investment in the platform is safer, right? But if you can't recommend it because everything's so expensive, then it kind of defeats the point. But yeah, we'll try and find out more details. Don't have them right now, but I am digging. I've got my little pickaxe. I'm digging into the mines for diamonds like Minecraft Steve.
We got Fiber Frenzy. He says, $5 that I could spend on the awesome Lenovo Legion Go, but I'd rather spend here. Jez, are you looking forward to the Legion Go? Busy boy. It looks great? ?
Yeah, so Lenovo Legion Go has identical performance to the Asus ROG Ally. Like some of the benchmarks leaked, I think, or maybe the embargo lifted. I don't know, but I did see some benchmarks for the Legion in passing at one point, and it's indiscernible. So I've actually canceled my pre-order for the Legion Go. The cool thing about the Legion Go was it's got the detachable controllers, which is really cool. It's got an even bigger screen, which is also really cool. But it just feels like overkill. Like it's got the same amount of power as the ROG Ally. I might as well just stick with what I got. But it does look really, really great. And someone on our team does have one, so we're gonna have a review up soon. And I'm excited for the category. I'm really, really excited that this is a category that's growing, and I know Microsoft is too. They're really intrigued by this category. And I think we're gonna get a more lightweight version of Windows to support this kind of platform, which will make the performance even better. So yeah, watch this space. Xbox is kind of on it with this at the moment.
Aragorn says Xbox 2+1 with more yeast. Ugh.
Oh no!
We get Amaranth on here.
Yeast.
Yeah, be like, hey.
Oh no! Oh god damn! Not the yeast.
Oh, the yeast. We got Gavilar saying, "Congrats on hitting 100,000 subscribers. Well done. Just wanted to say you were an inspiration to me in starting my own channel. Thanks to you two."
Oh wow,
that's awesome. You know, if I can inspire anybody to do anything, you know, that's amazing. Whether it's to play more games, or start their own YouTube channel, or maybe like lose some weight or what have you.
You inspire me to vomit sometimes.
Oh yeah, is that true? You inspire me to actually complete games. Sometimes I'd be like, should I stop playing this game? It's like, no, I don't want to be Jez. Thank you for all your inspiration. Wow. But then you do inspire me to want to like have my beard look cool, you know? Like all with the cool Manscaped products with checkout code XB2, 20% off. Manscaped.com. You know?
My beard's looking good at the minute. Like I've figured out a good regime to keep it looking neat. Because usually it gets to a point where it's like so long and it just looks messy and I just shave it all off. But now I've got like, thanks to Manscaped and its rotary blades, I now have a nice regime. So I'm gonna try and go full Gandalf, Rand.
Interesting.
That is my goal. I want to go full Gandalf and have a full-blown Gandalf beard.
We got Fiber Frenzy. So say I wanted to send Jez a gift instead of a super chat. I've got a 2 terabyte emulation hard drive with games. With all the games Spectrum to PS3, I've recently upgraded to NVMe. What address would I send Jez's 2 terabyte hard drive gift to?
Oh, well, it's very, very kind of you, but I don't know because I keep moving around a lot.
Yeah, that hard drive is gonna be full of porn, Jez.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no to that either. But yeah, we'll take a rain check on that one. We need a PO box round so people can like send fan art and stuff, and we can do like a fan art show. Yeah, fan art or yeast. I don't know.
Here's an idea for a new poll, says Silas. Who will publish more content in 2024? Xbox with games or Rand? YouTube videos, not including the weekly podcast drops. How dare you, Silas? You're basically becoming like Jez. Just because I took a little break from making videos, because I just was kind of burnt out and didn't want to make them, doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing them. I guarantee you I will make more videos than Xbox makes games. And Jez is always like, you make more videos? I made like 40 videos this year. Granted, that's down from previous years, but, you know, whatever. It's
40?
Yeah, it's like 40.
That's a lot.
Oh, I mean, you know.
Well, I've written about 400 articles.
But guess what? Those articles take you 2 minutes to write. Not the same, dude. They're not the same at all. You wouldn't be if each one of your articles took two hours or 2 to 3 hours to do. You would not be doing 400 of them.
Oh, probably not.
Exactly.
Probably not.
Head down, wings out. He said, "Listen, week in, week out for the first time listening live gets me through my work days. Keep up the brilliant work and long podcasts." Well, thank you for dropping by for the first time. I always love seeing people saying that they've dropped by for the first time, or that they discovered us from, you know, Spotify or iTunes or whatever. And well, we love doing the show every Friday, and you know, 4-hour podcasts. Some people like them. It seems a lot of people like them. So, you know, and we random guy does the timestamps for us, and we couldn't be more appreciative because Jez was doing them, but they weren't as good. So he's doing them, and he does a pretty good job. And I think he even gets DMs from people being like, "When are the timestamps going up?" And I'm just like, hey, whenever you finish them, just let me know. Like, if it's the next day, if it's right away, that's fine. But, you know, people are, like, they demand time. Just like, I can't listen. Give me the timestamps. You know? And I get it. Like,
timestamps is important.
Timestamps are important. But I've seen some creators stop doing them. Jez.
Well, it's hard to pull off if, like, it's a 4-hour show and you're doing it live. So like when I was doing it myself and trying to do the show and doing it live at the same time, it's kind of hard to pull off. But I really, really appreciate you know, Hazardor used to do them too. Like anyone who's been doing timestamps for us, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm just saying I've seen some bigger channels stop doing them because.
Why is that?
Because I think there's the fear that it leads to less watch time. That people can just skip and listen to exactly what they want to listen to, which leads to less watch time overall, which leads to less ad revenue because people aren't watching because they're watching less, so they're getting less ads and stuff. So
yeah, we don't.
I mean, there is some concern by I've seen some people stop doing it, and it's like, well,
meh.
It's like
meh.
We'll keep on doing it for now, at least. Face, he says there are only 6 slots for Games of the Year nominations for the Game Awards. Which games will make it and which games will get snubbed in your opinion? Yes, the Game Awards.
Let's run through this quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I quickly is in. Let's just do what's gonna get snubbed because we all know it's pretty much gonna get nominated. You got shoe-ins like Baldur's Gate, Zelda,
well, okay,
probably Mario.
Let's just say Baldur's Gate's winning. Okay.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate is gonna win.
Baldur's Gate is an absolute lock to win, right? And right now, I think there's only 3 locks for noms. Like this wouldn't be my Game of the Year nominee list because obviously I haven't played everything. I'm just trying to look at what the panel is going to vote. So I think there's 3 locks.
The San Fran game, Joe.
Yeah, there's the San Fran Cabal, right? And what they're going to vote, whoever's in the thing. So I think Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is a complete lock. It's going to be nominated. I think Baldur's Gate's going to be nominated and it's going to win. And once again, Larian was on Twitter because Ryan McCaffrey of IGN was like, hey, are we going to see, Baldur's Gate 3 at the Xbox Partner Preview? They said it was going to come out this year, but I'm doubting it. And the guy from Larian Publishing said it's still coming this year, which I've always speculated it'll be announced for Xbox. It'll probably be announced for Xbox after the Game of the Year nomination, so they can include it in like the video and probably launch either right before the Keeleys or right after. But I mean, he made sure to mention that it's still coming this year, right? So you have Baldur's Gate, you got Zelda, and I think you have Spider-Man 2 as 3 locks. And then so you have 3 games fighting. You have all the rest of the games fighting for 3 spots. So what do you think's getting snubbed then?
I think Starfield gets snubbed.
I agree with you. I actually have a $50 bet with Lord Cognito about this. I was talking to him yesterday. We were talking on the phone about stuff, and I brought up the Game Awards, and he thinks Starfield's getting nominated, and I don't think it is. Not because I don't think Starfield deserves it, because I think it does, because it's up there in my top 5 for sure. I don't think it's going to have the support it needs from the people who are doing the nominations. So I don't think it gets nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah.
And he thinks it does, so we put our money where our mouth is. So $50 bet. So what else? Yeah. I think Diablo 4 gets snubbed.
Yes, even though Diablo 4 should win, really.
It shouldn't, but I think Diablo 4 gets snubbed. I think Final Fantasy 16 gets snubbed.
I don't think that's really a snub.
Well, it's an 88 on Metacritic, so people would say it would be snubbed.
Yeah. What does it do that's new and original?
I don't know. You didn't play it, though, so...
Yeah, but that's because it didn't do anything.
I think Star Wars Jedi Survivor gets snubbed. I think Hogwarts Legacy gets snubbed. I think Sea of Stars gets snubbed. I think Cocoon gets snubbed.
There's too much high quality stuff.
I think Hi-Fi Rush gets snubbed.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush should get snubbed. I put a poll up on Twitter being like, should they expand the nominations because like the Oscars
went to 10.
Changes.
Yes.
Yeah, the Oscars changes when it is a particularly dense year, and I kind of feel like Jeff Keighley should do the same. Like this year has been, out of order. I feel like in some years you might have even seen like Wolong or Lies of P potentially nominated in Game of the Year, lists potentially in some years, but not this year. They ain't got a chance this year, and it sucks because there's just been so much high quality, unique stuff, and a lot of it's because work from home ended, and some studios that just weren't set up for work from home just basically stopped development. And I think really that is what we've seen this year is the studios that couldn't work during the pandemic really, all released their games all at once. But yeah, I don't know. I'm mainly in it for the trailers,
Yeah, you're in it.
I know my game of the year is not winning. Right? Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I think it's important that developers have recognition. There needs to be some kind of award show that does recognize the hard work of devs and celebrates the medium. I really do think that. But I think there's a real danger that like the Game Awards could just be seen as this massive advert, and I don't know. I mean, maybe you need the adverts to make people watch. I've never watched the Oscars, Rand, so I don't know if the Oscars is the same. Does the Oscars have shitloads of ads in it?
I mean, it's on television, so of course it has ads in it. What do you mean?
Well, I grew up with the BBC, which has no ads, so...
No, well, the Oscars constantly have ads because it's on television. It's on free television, so you have to watch
Yeah,
ads.
but I mean, like, in the middle of the show, as part of the show.
I mean, they have their partners and stuff. Like, this is sponsored by L'Oreal or whatever the hell. But then there's also, like, they take a commercial break and there's 6 ads and then you go back, right?
Yeah, well, I get that bit. I don't know. Ad breaks are different to like ads being embedded in the show's DNA. Like how Jeff Keighley will come and like introduce a movie trailer, for example.
Well, it's not that. Yeah.
So that's more what I'm talking about. Like the ads actually being part of the show.
You know who Patrick Klepek is, right? Speaking of Jeff
Oh
Keighley.
Yeah.
He worked at Giant Bomb. Now then he worked at Vice, and now he's doing Remap Radio or whatever. He did a podcast recently where they talked about the Game Awards, and he basically called Jeff Keighley a sellout.
Damn.
Which Jeff Keighley was a journo,
no one to mince
was a journo at times, early.
Yeah, wasn't he? Didn't he do game trailers? I'm not getting mixed up with someone else.
I don't know. But yeah, he basically called him a sellout. So yeah. Leaky Hum says Blizz games on Game Pass isn't worth seeing BlizzCon, bro. In regards to, I guess, what you saying, like Xbox fans should watch. Well, we know Blizzard games aren't going to be on Game Pass during BlizzCon.
Yeah, I never said a damn. I would never said a damn thing about Game Pass.
Yeah, Phil's already said they ain't putting any games from Blizzard and Activision in Game Pass this year. So don't.
I don't know a damn thing about Game Pass at BlizzCon. So I'm talking about other things.
Other things, Leaky Hum. Other things. Thanero says, let's get down to it. Do you think Redfall was the cause of the restructure? Have all teams lost that hands-off approach now? I would say absolutely not.
No, Redfall ain't affected anything. Like they've restructured because they're huge now, and this was coming. This was a long time coming, And it's not just Xbox that's been restructured. Windows has been restructured. Everything's been restructured. It's because of ABK. ABK is like such a huge operation with like multifaceted business stuff going into it, loads of different teams, and they have to create a structure that seamlessly integrates everything under one reporting structure. It's nothing to do with Redfall. Absolutely nothing to do with Redfall. I think what you might be referring to is PC Gamer went with a fairly sensational headline.
PC Gamer with a clickbait headline? I'm shocked.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of this headline, but the headline was something like, Microsoft is ending Bethesda's ability to report to itself, or something like that, implying that Microsoft has changed things to make things worse at Bethesda or something. And no, it's nothing to do with that. They're under the same company, and of course there's got to be an accounting structure which incorporates every aspect of the business, because now it's a big ass business, and they are going to be integrated to some degree. You are going to see Halo DLC pop up in Blizzard games. You are going to see Blizzard DLC pop up in Halo, I think. Much like you're seeing Call of Duty stuff in Diablo and vice versa right now. Everything's going to be integrated into one sort of beautiful cross-platform love fest.
Good.
Ultimately.
Good.
And, yeah, it's going to be one big happy family.
Who doesn't want a Doom guy skin in Halo? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be... It's what
or like a Doom guy sort of like armor set that looks like the Doom guy. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not just that. I just use that as an example. It's just going to be a lot of collaboration between all the different teams, and I think that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, because at the end of the day, Bethesda was already reporting to Phil anyway. It's not like Bethesda was a rogue state unto itself, right?
Yes.
Bethesda still had to report to Phil, so nothing bad. It's nothing bad.
Well, PC Gamer would make you believe everything Xbox is bad, though. With their slants they've been going with basically the whole year and beyond and before.
Yeah, well, people click on it, man.
Clicking on that negativity because it sells.
Yeah, people click on it.
Kiwi Overkill says, could Call of Duty or maybe even Diablo be only on Game Pass Ultimate? Phil said, don't talk about Brazil or you lose the 1 million. Yeah, I've seen that suggestion pop up that maybe the Blizzard games, or at least Call of Duty, is on Ultimate, so they move the people into the higher tier. Because
how do you feel about that?
Well, see, the thing is, they sort of need Ultimate anyways, because even if you were to play Call of Duty and get it in Game Pass, guess what? To play the multiplayer, you need online access, which is only in Ultimate. So putting it in Game Pass is as good as people subscribing to Ultimate, because anybody that's going to want to play the multiplayer has to subscribe to Ultimate, right? To play? Like, sure, maybe if you play the single player campaign, you don't need to, like me. But I'm already subscribed to Ultimate for another 3 years. So it's essentially part of Ultimate anyways, is it not? Kind of, at least.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like, because you have the veneer of choice of like, well, I can sign up for the Xbox console and PC, and the PC one will probably give you everything, because PC, you don't have to pay for multiplayer, and we still do, like the peasants we are, right? Paying for the multiplayer. But if you sign up and you're like, all right, I get Call of Duty for free, I save my $70, and then you realize, oh, well, I need Game Pass, I need multiplayer access to play it online. Well, guess what? You need to sign up to Ultimate. So it's kind of already there. So instead of putting it in Ultimate and everybody signing up to pay $15, they could maybe give you the veneer of choice and be like, all right, well, I'll sign up for the $10 one, and then realize, shit, I need the $15 one anyways. You know? I don't know.
It's a good word. Good word, veneer.
Veneer.
A veneer.
I guess we'll see. We'll see when it happens, what their plans will be. We have Highlander, member for 13 months. When and if do you think we will see World of Warcraft on the Xbox? Great show as usual. Keep it up. I'm still not convinced World of Warcraft will come to Xbox, but
I think it will. I've changed tact on this.
So
I used to think like there's no way it would happen because they'd have to rebalance everything, and also the whole game revolves around mods and stuff like that. I think like there is a path that can get World of Warcraft on Xbox, and if there is a path, I think Microsoft will take it. I think there is a vague chance that they could do it by separate servers, right, and just have a version of WoW that has no mods in it. Potentially, and have like a few servers and stuff like that, because I don't know if they'd have enough players on Xbox to populate that many servers. But what they could do, Rand, and I know this is going to upset some people, they could bring it to PlayStation as well and have like a console version that's differently balanced, and have a console version that doesn't need mods and that is designed around having a controller. They could potentially do that. Or they could just be like, hey, you need to have, to play this optimally on Xbox, you need to have a mouse and keyboard, because a lot of games support mouse and keyboard on Xbox now. Alan Wake 2 being one of them, surprisingly. Did you know this?
I did not know this. I did not.
Yeah, you can play. Yeah, on Xbox you can play Alan Wake 2 with mouse and keyboard. I did not know that. But yeah, apparently you can. So yeah, I think there is a path to get an Xbox, a version of WoW on Xbox, and Microsoft
would that be a reason to tune in to BlizzCon on next week to see this console version of World of Warcraft, perhaps?
Hey, I don't know about that, but
okay.
We'll have to see.
Good old Collingwood says, what comes first, an on-camera Rand or Baldur's Gate on Xbox? Oh, man, take your bets to see which one happens first. I guess it depends on when Baldur's Gate comes out. Mechlord says, which is better, Dead Cells or Hades? Hades, easily, is much better. At least I think so. Mescatalo says, old MFer here, who built his first gaming parasocial relationships from Giant Bombcast. You ever think of reaching out to Nextlander or Jeff Gertzman to have on? I mean, that would... God, I used to listen to Giant Bomb all the time, and to have a conversation with Jeff Gertzman would be, like... I couldn't even explain to you.
Oh, really?
I mean, dude, like, when you talk about gaming podcasts, it was Giant Bomb. It was Jeff, it was
Giant
Brad,
Bomb
it was Vinny. Well, Giant Bomb still exists, but none of the people who actually started it are there. I mean, Jeff Grubb's there now, and they have, like, some other people, but, like, the OG Giant Bomb crew who all left GameSpot after Gertzman got fired for his Legend of Zelda Wind Waker review. Remember
he got fired?
Well, no. Oh, he got fired for his Kane and Lynch review. That's right. He got a bunch of hate for his Wind Waker review.
Excuse me?
Well, no, not his Wind Waker review. He got a lot of hate for his Twilight Princess review, I think. He gave it an 8.8, and the Nintendo fans hated on him and sent him death threats. But GameSpot fired him over his Kane and Lynch review because Kane and Lynch... Yeah, you don't remember this? Kane and Lynch, Square Enix... They were marketing. The bell now. They were marketing and had ads up all over GameSpot, all over it. And then the review came out, and I think Jeff gave it like a 6 or a 5. And whoever was in charge of GameSpot basically like told them to go jump. That they have a responsibility to their ad partners, who at the time was Square Enix and Kane of Lynch. And there was this whole thing of ethics and journalism and like whatever. So he got fired, and then like Brad Shoemaker left because of it, because they were friends, and I think Vinny left, and all those guys sort of formed Giant Bomb and started doing that and stuff. So yeah, do you not remember this, the Kane and Lynch thing, or the Twilight Princess thing, the hate? I don't remember Twilight Princess, but I do now remember the Kane and Lynch thing and the GameSpot thing. But I somehow forgot in my head that Giant Bomb and GameSpot are the same company, right? No, they're not the same company. Maybe they were owned by the same company, because I think Giant Bomb eventually sold to maybe the same company that owns a bunch of stuff. But yeah, there's a There is a GameSpot logo at the bottom of Giant Bomb's website. Well, maybe the parent company who owns it now owns both, but at the time when it first started, it definitely wasn't the case. And there are people who do work at GameSpot that also work at Giant Bomb, so that probably is some of the thing there. But yeah, I don't know. Not originally, though. But yeah, but he's like, you're a fan of his, so you'd like to get him on the show, is what you're saying. I mean, sure, why not? But I mean, I doubt he would. Jeff has his own stuff. The Nextlander crew have their own stuff, and I don't know if they'd want to talk about Xbox. I feel like those guys have sort of been maybe more cynical about Xbox now. No way. I mean, I would. Really? Well, who'd have thought? I know. Definitely, for sure. I mean, who? Yeah. No, I mean, Xbox is kind of like seen as this vestigial limb in the industry by a lot of people, I feel like. Well, a lot of people don't want to cover it. A lot of people don't want to have to learn what's going on at Xbox, and they don't want to have to understand the minutia of the platform and everything, right? It's like PlayStation and Nintendo, we understand. It's about the console. It's about this. It's about exclusive, the exclusive games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But with Xbox, it's just easier for some people to say, oh, they got no identity. Oh, they don't have any games. They've sucked for a long time. What is Xbox? Oh, they're buying up the industry. Like, when you listen to like major gaming outlets talk about Xbox, a lot of them are just frankly clueless about what Phil and company and about the strategic direction that Xbox is taking gaming and all that, or at least their take on gaming. Like, I listened to a very popular mainstream gaming podcast this past week. And they were talking about the ABK stuff. They were talking about Phil visiting, the different companies, Activision, Blizzard, and King. And they were shocked that Phil went to visit King first. In fact, they said, wait a minute, why is he visiting King? Shouldn't he be going to visit Activision for Call of Duty? He's sort of implying by visiting King that the reason they bought Activision was for mobile. And the guys on the podcast were like, yeah, that can't be the case, right? Why would he visit King? And it's like, but if you listen to us, or if you listen to anybody tuned in with Xbox, you would know that the reason they bought Activision Blizzard was mainly because of King. Well, because it literally solved a lot of their issues, but mostly because they needed mobile. But when you talk mainstream gaming doesn't care about mobile. I mean, I don't care about mobile, and you don't care about mobile, and the people watching the show don't care about mobile. But we're aware of what it means. But you would think for people whose job it is to understand the gaming industry, a lot of the pundits within the San Fran bubble have no idea how the gaming industry even works. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of just a sad state of affairs, essentially. And I'm not even saying I understand how the gaming industry works, right? I'm just saying I understand what Xbox is trying to do, and I understand why they do certain things and why they bought who they bought. I understand that. But the fact that I was listening to a very popular podcast, and they were like, wait, did they buy it for King? No, that doesn't make any sense. It's about Call of Duty, right? It just goes to show you how out of touch some of these people are.
Yeah. But hey, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? That's why the Xbox 2 exists, by the way. I don't know.
It's why I started blogging. I started blogging because I was like, these guys don't get it. That's literally why I started blogging, you know.
We have Sin Vendetta, who says, honestly, if I didn't play one game at a time, let's see, I knew I like Sin because he's basically like me, one game at a time. I'd never finish any game. Right now, I'm committed to 100% Starfield before moving on to Liza P. 175 hours on my first playthrough with 8 more achievements left to go. Well, you go, Sin. I mean, I put 100 hours into Starfield. I loved it, but there's so many other games to play I had to move on. We got Human Shield. Hello, I'm a lurker from Spotify, and it's slow today. Rand, your San Fran journalist impression had me dying last week. Have you ever tried Baracos? Yeah, did you like my San Fran Cabal journalist impression last week? You remember that?
Vaguely.
You don't remember? Oh, Phil, can you give us is Game Pass sustainable, Phil?
It reminds me of something. I don't know what.
Yeah,
like some comedian.
Well, because you got to do it different than the fanboy voice, and you got to do it. The voice for fanboys got to be different than the voice for the journalist, right?
No. Is it Groucho Marx? I think. I don't know.
I have tried Baracos. Baracos is very good, but Palermo's is still the best. Baracos is pizza place, Italian place, pizza place. Really, really good.
Is that deep dish pizza?
I think they have deep dish, but I don't like deep dish. It's not why I get it.
I'm so intrigued by deep dish. I've never had it. I don't know anywhere in Europe that sells it. It looks so unhealthy. It's just a giant dish of molten cheese. Like, how is that?
It's the sauce, the cheese, and the dough, bro.
It's like a giant lasagna almost. Like, I don't get it. It's crazy unhealthy. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I'll eat the whole damn thing, bro.
I mean, I don't like deep dish. Sith Lord, happy Friday. I hope all's well. Go Hawks, go Bears. Yeah, hopefully the Chicago teams do good. Human Shield says, just want to say you two have great chemistry and you're my favorite podcast. You guys have got me through some tough times playing Xbox since 2001. Well, thank you. And I'm grateful that me and Jez can help people through rough times in their life. You're not the only person who has said that. I get messages all the time on my Xbox or Discord or Twitter that, hey, we love listening to the show. It's a staple, and you guys have helped us out. Because honestly,
helps me out.
Yeah, I mean, like I've used other people, podcasts or friends or whatever to help me get through rough times. So I know exactly how you feel. So, and that's a responsibility me and Jez, we take seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I think you can tell sometimes when I come on the show and I'm not.
Oh, I can tell because you'll get in there. You're like, ugh.
Yeah. I can tell sometimes when I listen back to the show, like, shut up, Alexa. I wasn't talking to you. Like, if it's been like a particularly bad week for some reason, usually work related or something, and then like other shows where it's like I feel a lot more energetic and a lot more with it because it's been a good work week and traffic's been up very very much this week. So I'm like, I'm a calm and I feel zen, and I think I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it's very hard for me not to.
Did you get your nap in before the show?
I didn't actually. I didn't need one. I lay down a little bit, but I didn't nap.
Can we just give you applause for the fact that you basically podcasted all last weekend?
Well,
constantly.
I've been in a really good mood lately.
Dude, so I was like, you did Xbox 2 for 4 hours on Friday last week. Then you did Gaz's show, right? The awesome Gaz, the Sauce Master with Asa. I think you're on with Fratinga, and you did that for like 3.5 hours, and then
Fratinga made me laugh, man.
And then you jumped into Xbox Era with Jesse and Sicka Mechanico and the disgusting Special Nick who's skipping cutscenes in Alan Wake 2.
Oh god, I'm so triggered when I
dude, and you jumped in there, and then you brought Gaz in, and then you brought me in, and you did that show for a little bit, and then Sunday you did ILP, and then you tricked me into joining ILP at the end, and ILP was like a 5-hour show. So you put in some work, and then you did C Money show, and now you're doing this show on, geez, you're on the world tour
show on Thursday as well. Actually, I'm doing Web Dave show on Thursday.
Oh, Web Dave show. Yeah, Web Dave's a great guy.
Web Dave is cool.
Always in the chat. We have Widia saying, Jez, there's the DICE Awards. It's voted by developers. That's true, Jez. There is the DICE Awards.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I like this. DICE isn't televised, is it, or anything like that?
I wouldn't say it's televised. I think it might be streamed.
Well, I don't know. Something that is marketable, I guess. Something that like the BBC might cover. Although actually, I think the BBC does cover the DICE Awards. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking crap. I know that devs really take the DICE Awards seriously and stuff. But yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm sure devs know better what they deserve more than me. I just want devs to get recognition because they make me cool games that I like to play.
Supernova says, Jez, are there any Japanese AAA projects that Microsoft is working on or exclusive, like Lost Odyssey 2?
Ooh, well, wasn't there a rumor that Hi-Fi Rush is working on a traditional JRPG? Or,
there was a
JRPG
rumor that Tango was, but I mean, even at TGS, Phil talked about Phil mentioned that there are exclusives that they have that they are working on with partners in Japan that you're just not ready to announce yet.
Yeah, so, I'm sure there's some seriously cool stuff in the works right now. Like one of the things that I'm sort of working on, or oh shit, am I disconnected?
No, I still hear you.
I'm disconnected from Diablo again though. Damn.
Good, you deserve it.
One thing about Diablo 4 that definitively sucks is the servers. The servers are not good in this game. Like they are laggy, the rubber banding and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, one thing that I have been investigating a little bit recently is budget increases at Xbox.
Budget increases.
So budget increases. So I've heard they've got a big fat marketing budget.
Well,
increase.
It seems like it.
Yeah, they're marketing football stadiums in Europe, which is huge. Xbox hasn't done that for quite a while. So like, a lot of people watch football in Europe. So, similar marketing stuff to what they usually do in America, but on a more global scale. So the marketing budget globally has increased. And I've also, I think the budget for first parties increased as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft's serious, man. They are all in now.
Yeah, except for having competitive pricing for the Series S in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find out a definitive answer for this.
I've noticed it too. All of a sudden it was like the ABK deal ended, and all of a sudden Microsoft's marketing picked up. It was like, we're doing the Sphere. We got the new commercial, which obviously takes time to make. They didn't do that shit overnight, right? All of a sudden they're on buses in the UK. Like they're advertising everywhere, and it's like, wow, like where's this Microsoft? And as we'll talk about like
conspiracy time.
Okay,
have they been downplaying it for regulators?
Some people have that thought process that maybe they were, to try to push it through to make it seem like they were smaller than they are and they didn't know what they were doing and their games suck and.
We're dumb. So
please let us have ABK. I mean, but granted, like obviously the trailer they built, the new one, that they're not doing that in a day. That takes weeks of prep time or whatever.
Maybe they've been holding it back.
I mean, I guess it looks. It's like Jim Ryan leaving PlayStation. The timing seems odd because it was like the CMA is going to approve, and then suddenly Jimbo's out of there before any of his games as a service games come out and before Microsoft officially acquires them. And then the ABK deals end, and suddenly Microsoft's marketing the Xbox consoles everywhere, which they've sort of, they've really neglected to. And it's like, are these things connected? Our human minds want to make connections. That's just how it is. You know, are they related? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But you definitely tell the marketing budget went up. And I've always told you, and I've always thought Microsoft is very good at marketing the Xbox brand itself. They're very good at doing that, and they're doing it again. I've always felt that they've not as good at marketing individual games. Which, you know, I think Bethesda handled the marketing of Starfield, which I thought was very good, and all the success that we saw from it, and what it did for Xbox. But when it comes to like Xbox games, I feel like Xbox isn't really as good marketing individual titles. And do they need to do that with Game Pass? But I also feel like Game Pass hasn't been, and this is like, marketing speak. And I don't know, Jesse from Xbox Air is probably loving it right now because it's his favorite subject. But I don't know. I sort of feel like Microsoft isn't, like the marketing for Game Pass, I think could be better. And maybe they're waiting for the opportunity to finally have COD on there and have the Blizzard games and stuff when maybe you can start running commercials about Game Pass that would hit like the mainstream, because Call of Duty is very mainstream. Like I'm imagining next year with the new Call of Duty, the Treyarch game, like you market that stuff and it has an Xbox logo and has Game Pass on there. And then the mainstream's like, Game Pass, what's that? You know what I mean? Like you finally sort of kick up the marketing around that and do a little bit more. Because I don't know, it sort of seems like the marketing around Game Pass is all centered around social media and Twitter and stuff. You know, doesn't it a little bit?
I still speak to people, they don't know what Game Pass is, you know. Like, no, I'm talking about normies, you know.
Well, that's why
norms.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, maybe
that's why you need the marketing, is to get them normies, bro.
Yeah. Well, we have a incredible, generous super chat from Sea Lord of Bravos. I think that's 200 Canadian, if I'm not mistaken. He says, here's another super chat made in appreciation for what you guys do for the community. Rand, I'm really late to the party on Dead Space. I'm playing the remake right now on Game Pass. And let me just say, I now completely understand your love of it. What a game. Dude, Dead Space is incredible, and it's going to get snubbed. It's a remake that improved up on the original, and the original was so good back in 2000. What would that have been? 2008? 2008, I think it was when it came out.
Yeah, it was a hot minute.
Resident Evil in space is what it was. And like, oh my God, the gameplay. And then people were worried about the remake, that would they do it justice? And my Lord, did they ever do it justice. I love Dead Space. I think I played it twice. I think I did. Yeah, I beat it and then immediately started the second playthrough to get the alternate ending because I had to see it, and I had to see it for myself. And it's in Game Pass right now, which is absolutely huge. Spooky season is here, and what better game to celebrate it with than Dead Space? If any of you guys haven't played it, do yourself a favor. I mean, it's basically Resident Evil in space, but I think better? Question mark? Or at least has better gameplay than Resident Evil? There's just something so cool about being on a derelict spaceship that's overrun by, it gives you the Alien vibes, it gives you the Event Horizon vibes. It's such a fantastic game, and please, EA, remake Dead Space 2, because Dead Space 1 is amazing and Dead Space 2 is even better. Like, please don't stop at this one. Remake Dead Space 2. I need Dead Space 2 in my life. I love these games. Please play Dead Space.
You like Dead Space?
I love Dead Space. I love Dead Space. We got James Wiseau with another generous super chat. He says, $50. He says, I'm going away for 10 weeks this weekend, traveling South Asia. So I won't catch live for a while due to time differences. So this is a little extra for me. Taking my Switch only. Would love some recommendation from you guys in the community. A Switch only is only. Well, I mean, I don't have any I'm sorry, I don't have. I mean, Metroid Prime or Metroid Prime Remastered and Metroid Dread. I guess maybe the Bayonetta games.
Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime Remastered, definitely. I would say. Pokemon.
No, nobody wants Pokemon.
Why not, man? It's good. It's good. I was actually really enjoying the Zelda remake. Oh man, what was it called now? Link to the Past, was it? The top-down one. I was really enjoying that. That was a fun game. But I think Cult of the Lamb is also on Switch. That's a really good game. And also Carrion, that's on Switch. It's a very good game. There's quite a lot of good games. Basically, they're all indie games that are on Xbox. So what my recommendations will be. But yeah, all good in the hood.
Yeah, I'm sure people in the chat have some recommendations for you. We got Infinite Umbra, my Chicago brother. He says, Rand and Jez, the first bottle of Amaranth is on me. Oh, God. And he wants me to come on his podcast again soon. I don't know about that, Umbra. You're going to make me sick. You'll make me sick. I didn't see his tweet until it was too late, but, you know, if you need to get a hold of me, Umbra, DM me. I'll see that because normally I don't see my tweets. I usually mute them as soon as I tweet.
Yeah, you're a coward.
I'm not
Rand.
a coward.
You're a coward, bro.
Don't want the notifications. We got Angry Hippie. The voice reminds me of Men in Black. That is the Men in Black one. That is kind of what I was going for a little bit there.
Good movie.
Yeah, very good movie. Vincent D'Onofrio playing that character in Men in Black. Jay Rembert says Baracos is the best pizza in Chicago. No, sir. It's Palermo's. You need to try it. And he goes, "What
about Domino's?
Really, Jazz? We're talking primo pizza here, dude. Like real pizza, not cardboard. Not cardboard.
We got Domino's in the UK, bro. That's all we get. We get Domino's. That's it. And then local pizza places.
He says, which pony podcast were you referring to? I wasn't referring to a pony podcast. This was a mainstream podcast, like very mainstream. Not like any of the PlayStation community podcasts. No, I don't listen to any of those.
It was the official Pokemon podcast, wasn't it?
No. Jax82 says, did you all see Xbox turn on the rights to Alan Wake 2? I mean, this was years ago. Me and Jez had this conversation. Jez was like, oh man, Alan Wake 2 could have been an Xbox game. I was like, yeah, Alan Wake 2, if it was an Xbox game, would have came out during the Xbox One generation. Because what happened was Xbox published Alan Wake, and then Remedy went to pitch Alan Wake 2 to Xbox, and Xbox didn't want it because Alan Wake 1 did not sell well. It's a cult classic, essentially. And Microsoft wanted something different that in line with their whole TV stuff. And Remedy had the Quantum Break pitch, which Microsoft really liked. They wanted a new IP with the TV stuff, so they worked on Quantum Break. And Quantum Break came out in 2016, and obviously they sort of severed ties, and after so long of, essentially no use, or at least inactivity on the Alan Wake thing, they gave the Alan Wake IP back to Remedy. But they haven't given, or at least the Alan Wake publishing rights back to Remedy. Because I want to say at the time, they still own the IP, but they just didn't have the publishing rights. With Quantum Break, Xbox owns the IP and the publishing rights. But with Alan Wake, I want to say Remedy owned the IP, just not the publishing rights, which is why they were able to, in Control, have a DLC with Alan Wake in it. So it's yeah, the Alan Wake 2 that you're playing right now would not have been the Alan Wake 2 we would have gotten in 2015 if they had decided to do a sequel right away after the first game.
So what I'm taking away from this is we could have had Alan Wake 3 by now.
Maybe. But yeah. Let's talk about Alan Wake 2 really quickly, because I've only put 5 hours into it. I'm not sure how much you've put into it. So
I put about 2.5 hours into it.
I am floored. Absolutely floored by this game.
I am floored.
Seriously, I'm only 5 hours in. I think this could be my game of the year. And maybe people are rolling their eyes because, of course, Rand, you love Alan Wake. I don't think I've been this invested into a game maybe since Dead Space or Resident Evil 4.
It's gripping. It is gripping.
And it's
so gripping.
For the first 2 hours, I don't think you fight anybody. I think maybe you fired 2 bullets. And I was, and me, I sort of love that stuff, right? I have no issue with that. The way the game looks, the ambiance, the atmosphere, it's literally AAA production values, just like Spider-Man 2. And considering I just replayed Alan Wake, just replayed it because it had been 13 years, and I was like, let me remember the story. And I'm playing this, and I'm walking in the Cauldron Forest. And then I go to Bright Falls, and it's literally the same buildings and everything from Alan Wake that I just was in. My jaw was on the floor. And to think that this game is not only a true survival horror experience, in more ways than even Resident Evil, right? You have limited bullets, limited battery. The enemies are tough. I mean, the first boss I fought, I think I died like 4 times. It was difficult, and I was like, there's a couple times like he grabbed me, then I didn't see. I didn't rage quit, but it was just like, what this? it was putting me on my toes, man. And the fact that it's also a detective game, it's basically the Resident Evil remakes meet LA Noire. Like, yeah,
because you know I hate walking simulators, right?
I know you do.
And I was like, I'm thinking like, when you were talking about how the fact you don't fire a bullet for a long time, the intro is very long. I was sitting there playing it, and I was thinking, Rand will love this. And I started telling you how much you're gonna love it. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, Rand. Even I loved it. Even I loved it, and I'm the kind of person, I'm getting patient and stuff. But the one thing I do like, I really like LA Noire, because even though it's like it's lighter on combat than you say Call of Duty or something, of course it is. It's still very involved. You know, it has you thinking, it has you investigating, all that kind of stuff. And like, this really does put you in the shoes, or the mind rather, of an FBI agent without going into spoiler territory. And you investigate things, and you have to look at clues and read stuff and make connections and stuff. And I was like, wow, I did not know Alan Wake 2 was like this.
There's no like markers on the map of where you should go, right? Because it's kind of open world. Like the first area you're in, the woods, is kind of big with a lot of different paths to go through. There's not like there's not a flashing icon for you to go to. It's sort of you need to sort of figure it out on your own. Look at like the clues, and then like the character you play as Saga Anderson, who's this kind of like up and coming FBI profiler, solves some very weird cases. And as you're walking around the real world, she also has this mind place that she can go to by pressing back on the Xbox controller, where she has like a case board where all the clues that you gather from around the area she can put up, and kind of this deduction, like Sherlock Holmes thing, where it ties together like, oh, where did the person go? And then you would have the clue. Like, it is so well done, but there's even profiling and stuff. Like,
yeah, like FBI profiling. Like, and you know, and the mind map area is like a full 3D room. And it was so, I was kind of floored by the fact that you can just press the back button and then instantly switch into another 3D environment. Mm-hmm. I suppose it's kind of similar in a way to the Medium in that sense, but it's like, it's even more seamless. I kind of feel like no loading. It's just instantly, oh, now I'm in a different place by pressing a single button. You couldn't do this, and that's why it's got an SSD requirement on PC. You couldn't do this with a hard drive. You'd need a loading screen or something like that. But you know, it's hard to really go in depth without straying to spoiler territory. But in the first hour, like, this is the best way I can describe Alan Wake. Like, my girlfriend's not a gamer at all. She's not a gamer. She doesn't play any games. She's not interested in games whatsoever. I loaded up Alan Wake after downloading it. It's like 78
gigabytes on the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, something like that. So I downloaded this game really quick because we had the PC keys, but then we had the Xbox keys late, and I was kind of like, I contributed to our review. Samuel Talbot did most of it, but I was like, I'll load up the Xbox version.
Did Sam like it? What did you guys give it?
We gave it 9 out of 10. Okay. So Sam liked it, but some of the technical issues held it back a little bit. Because it's not completely perfectly polished. You know, it is polished, but it's like there's just a few little things that stop it from hitting that 10 out of 10 mark, I suppose, for me and Samuel, I guess. But I was like, I've got an Xbox Series S Black Carbon Edition right now. So I've got the new Xbox Series S, and I was like, I'll test this across. I've set up a testing bed for both systems, because since that leak that was saying like 75% of people are on Xbox Series S, I was like, well, God, we need more Xbox Series S coverage now. So I was like, I better set up my Xbox Series S and test games like that. So this was the first game that we really tested it on both, because usually we just review on Xbox Series S and we don't Series X, and we don't bother with the Series S at all. But since like most people actually are on the Series S, I figured like it'd be useful if we actually tested them both. So now I have a Series S and a Series X on my desk for testing games. And so I load it up on the Series X first because I want to check it out there. And my girlfriend's like, I couldn't believe the visuals. I'm like, the first area with the trees and the forest in the dark, and then later on it's like raining and there's sunset and stuff like that. I was like, I really want to hear from my girlfriend what she thinks of these graphics, because in the right lighting, sometimes you don't know if it's real or not. And they do use full motion video, but like even then I was like, is this real or is this full motion video right now, or is it just real? Because sometimes it really does make your mind wonder. We get into that point now where it's like, man, the graphics are just so damn good and the faces look so damn realistic. And my girlfriend got sucked into the game too, and she's not into games at all. So like she's playing it for a little while, and then she got fed up of having to like find ways and open the map and things like that. So I was like, I'll play and then you watch. And then we were playing it together, and she's like watching it like a movie. She's really into it, like because it's so
cinematic, very
cinematic. It's so cinematic. The subtle camera shakes that make it like give you the impression there's a human being holding the camera and stuff. Like it's so well done. It is so well done, and the cutscenes and the acting and the direction.
But then you get into the combat, and it's man, it's pulse pounding because like they have this music that plays. You
still got to use the light.
You got to use the light, but it's different. Like when Alan Wake 1, which was much more of an action game, was like you just point it and you get rid of the darkness. But like you have so many in the first game, you had so many batteries. In this game, I'm walking around with like 3, and you can use it, and you basically like supercharge it, which takes a chunk of your battery away. And I think you can only do it like 4 times per battery charge, and then it reveals like a core on an enemy. But they're brutal. They'll come right up on you. You have a dodge to basically dodge out of the way, but you can only take a few hits before you're dead. And then it kind of has the inventory system of Resident Evil Remake 2, where you don't have a lot of inventory spaces, so you might run into like, okay, what am I going to carry? But that first area in the map, I think I must have explored for easily like an hour and a half, 2 hours before I continued on, because there was so many cool things around. And
did you find the inventory expansion?
I did find the inventory expansion.
Good.
I think I actually have 2 inventory expansions now. I found 2 of them.
Oh wow. Damn.
And it's some of the images are going to be disturbing. Like the game sort of starts out with you looking at a dude's ass, a big fat ass, and then
I was like, oh wow,
and his like little like these dirty cakey ass, right? and then straight up dick, right? Just dude naked.
It's mature, man.
It's very mature, but the themes they're going for. But, I'm such a huge Alan Wake fan. I've been waiting 13 years. I remember talking to Phil in 2015, and I told him, he was like, hey, if you could greenlit a game, what game would you greenlit? I'm like, Alan Wake 2. Like, I've wanted this game for so long. When people ask, like, what's your dream game? It's always hard for me to say because I'm getting my dream game. I've wanted a sequel from Alan Wake. I wanted to know what the whole, it's not a lake, it's an ocean meant, right? And it's finally here 13 years later, and it's better than I ever could possibly imagined. And the fact that they went super hard into the survival horror aspect and made it like a horror game because the story's kind of horror related. Like, I couldn't be more happier with how everything's played out. Like, I'm so like, if it continues on this trajectory, it's easy game of the year for me. Easy. Like, nothing else will even compare if it continues along this path.
I thought you might say that. I want to ask you something now, though. Have you seen Twin Peaks?
Some of it, not all of it.
You need to watch Twin Peaks after you. I honestly think Alan Wake is more rewarding after you've seen Twin Peaks. There are so many references and like Easter eggs for Twin Peaks fans in these games. It is just uncanny. So yeah. Definitely watch Twin Peaks, but that's a slight tangent. Yeah, I love this game so far, and I love the fact my girlfriend's into it, and that's the reason I haven't been playing it, because she's been really busy, and I want to play it with her. I said to her, like, do you want to go back and play the first game? And she was like, no, I'm enjoying enjoying learning about it through Saga's eyes, and it made me realize that like because Saga is new to Bright Falls, and she's not aware of what happened 13 years ago in Bright Falls.
Or is she?
Well, I don't know, but like
because there's that moment in the diner.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, is there something else going on here a little bit? You don't know.
Yeah, it's mysterious, but even still, like she asks questions of the other FBI guy.
It is so cool. Sam Lake is in it.
Yeah,
Sam Lake's not only in it like digitally, he's also in it as like FMV, like they're in the Alan Wake sections.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So yeah, she's fully into it. So I'm gonna play it with her, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be the gateway to her. Because she has played some games. She really likes Playdead games. She completed Limbo. She completed Inside. I'm gonna give her Cocoon to play. I think she likes those puzzle games. But I think this could be a gateway for her to be like, oh wow, actually games can be really gripping stories and stuff. So I've been trying 10 years. I've been trying to make her fall in love with games, and maybe could it be Alan Wake 2 that does it? That'd be hilarious. That'd be wild if it is.
And it's interesting, like they touch on some of the stuff from the first game, but I mean, they don't really do a recap of what happened in Alan Wake 1. So like somebody who didn't
really, it throws you into the deep end, really.
Which I just played it, so I know, and I played the DLCs, and there's even control nods, right? There's stuff.
The Federal Bureau of Control.
The Federal Bureau of Control and AEW events and stuff. So there's control things. But yeah, if you didn't play Alan Wake 1, maybe that's why they have Saga, like the two playable characters. It's like she's discovering the stuff about what's happened like, at the same time, like someone new would be playing the game. Yeah,
it's clever.
Very, very good, very good. I can't wait to. I'll probably be done, and by sometime next week, and we'll talk about it full. And
Do you know how long it is?
I want to say they said it was like 20 hours or so, give or take.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So we'll see. But Alan Wake also made an appearance at Xbox Partner Preview, their Xbox's new showcase event, Jez.
Yeah, that was cool to see, because there's always this sort of like assumption that Remedy and Microsoft are mad at each other now, I suppose. And I suppose money talks more than anything at the end of the day. But it was kind of cool to see that, them working together again. Even though, like, it's an Epic Games game.
It is an Epic Games game. But at one point, it was an Xbox exclusive. And, like, it's sort of one of those things where it's like, what could have been, right? But I'm happy for Remedy because Control ended up good. And Alan Wake 2 is better than I ever thought. So, but the Xbox Partner Preview, I'm happy that Xbox is doing it. Now, like, this first one, I didn't think was the greatest thing ever, but I thought it's a solid foundation that you can work on. And I think they really surprised a lot of people with, hey, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater footage, gameplay. I don't think anybody really expected something like that to be there,
Does that mean Xbox has got the marketing?
I don't know, because it debuted during PlayStation's showcase. So... I don't know. The thing I like about this is we talked a little bit about earlier about Xbox going more heavy in marketing. And I think this is also another reason for that, right? Like they hired Tina Amini to kind of build up their presence. And Phil's talked about the idea of having more gaming beats throughout the year. And we've seen it this year, right? You saw the Direct in January. You had the showcase in June, followed up by a presence at Gamescom, their biggest ever, followed up by more stuff at TGS. And then you have this partner preview stuff. And these partner previews, these collections of like third-party games that Microsoft may want to mention, like they haven't really done one like this since 2020. Remember, the first next-gen showcase was Xbox doing a third-party one in like April of 2020 that showed off, like, that announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla for the first time. They showed off Call of the Sea. They showed off Scarlet Nexus. They showed off, I mean, it was like Yakuza Like a Dragon. I'm forgetting some of the other games that they had at that first event. But it was also the first event, remember, where like Aaron Greenberg was on a $1 webcam from Walmart, you right? Where people were like, come on. And instead of like doing more of those, they just stopped doing those, period. Like, remember they would do these inside Xboxes for a bit, and people didn't like them because they were stretched out to 2 hours or an hour and a half. and then they stopped them, and they were just doing the E3s. And sure, sometimes they do the ID at Xbox Twitch shows, for the smaller indie titles. But I'm actually really excited to see Microsoft step into this space and start to do more of these, because a partner showcase is something that you can probably have 2-3 times a year, because there's always third-party games coming to the platform. There's always third-party games that you would want to highlight. Like, I think you have Alan Wake 2 coming to your platform. Why not do a thing where you have a partner preview, making an event, and boom, here's a launch trailer for Alan Wake 2, or make sure Xbox users know Metal Gear's coming, right? So I'm a fan of this. You got your developer directs, right? It's all branded each differently. They all have their different iconography. So I'm like the idea of them doing more of these.
Me too.
I think some people were saying that it should have a voiceover, because this one was straight like, hey, trailer after trailer with with basically would say, hey, find out more about this game on Xbox Wire. So they are each cross promoting another Xbox thing. But some people were saying it should have a voiceover, like someone like Paris should do the voices. And I sort of think the reason they're not doing that, because then it's just like a complete rip of the Nintendo Direct and State of Plays, where there is a disembodied voice. There is the lady's voice of the State of Play. Right, you don't see them. It's just someone talking. It's a disembodied voice. And you just watched blah, 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 blah. Now stay tuned for our next look at this. They do it at the Nintendo Direct. They do it at State of Play. I think Xbox wanted to do their own thing and not make it a complete clone. So I don't need a talking head to then, tell me what I just saw and what I should be excited about the next thing I should see. So I'm perfectly fine watching a string of trailers, right? So, I mean, what did they show? They showed the first look of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater using Unreal Engine 5, like every single game coming out, apparently. They showed the launch trailer for Alan Wake 2, which me and Jez just talked about and how incredible it is. They showed the first gameplay footage for Ark Survival Ascend, which I think is coming out in November, but it's the remaster of the first Ark game.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you one thing, right? Out of everything that they showed, our traffic for Ark was nuts. You have no idea how popular this game is. It's so popular. Like, you know Beard, right?
Yes.
Shout out to Beard on Twitter. He's got like a 1,000,000 hours in Ark, man. That guy is nuts on Ark. But I thought it looked really good. The problem is, right? The problem I've got with that, I don't fully trust Studio Wildcard. I kind of feel like if it looks really good in the trailer, it's gonna look half as good in real life. But it's available in early access apparently, so maybe I should just go and test it for myself or something. But yeah, Ark really blew up. What did you? I want to know what you thought of. Before we move on, I really want to know what you thought of Metal Gear Solid 3. Delta,
looks good.
Whatever they're calling it.
I mean, looks good to me.
I've got. Do you want to know what my issue with it is?
What's your issue, Jez?
It looks too similar to the first game.
Okay.
And my issue with that is, right, I kind of feel like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4, and Resident Evil 3 to a lesser extent, maybe in a bad way, but they changed up the games to make them surprising again, right? So like, especially Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 had a lot of surprises in it that weren't in the original, or they were tweaked from the original. And I really, really like that. It kind of like made it fresh, because I'm someone I must have completed Resident Evil 2 about 1 million times. It's one game like I played over and over again to unlock all the different weapons and all that kind of stuff, right? So I knew that game inside out and upside down and backwards. But when I came to the remake, it was a completely fresh experience for the most part. And I suppose part of that is because maybe PS1 was, a really long time ago. But Resident Evil, not Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid Delta, it looks so similar. Like the layouts of the areas look the same. The enemies and combat looks exactly the same. They haven't really shown like anything story-ish right now. Maybe there'll be new characters or something. Maybe they'll like put their own mark on it with a new boss battle. Because Metal Gear Solid 3 is legendary for its boss battles, right? So I'm kind of like, I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be like a true one-to-one remake. I don't know if I really want that. I don't know if I really want that. I kind of like, I want it to be a bit different or a bit new so it feels fresh. And I know that's probably a divisive opinion. A lot of people probably just like, I want it exactly the same as it was. But I feel like I've played the original so many times over and over again that I kind of just feel like I've been there and done that. I don't really care to play it again with new graphics. Do you know what I mean? Is that weird? Am I crazy? What do you think about that take? Right.
I mean, hey,
what do you think, Chad?
We'll see. We'll see how that. I mean, you have to. I get that because it does look pretty similar, but we'll see how it plays out when the game actually comes out and you actually play it. If there's any surprises or if it's just a straight up remake without changing anything. Because I do think that's what Resident Evil 2 and 4 did really well, but also what Resident Evil 3 didn't do well, right? Where they changed too much and changed was too actiony and cut certain things. So
I hate so bad that they cut the worm out of Resident Evil 3. I love that boss. I don't know why. I got to think about tentacles and stuff like that. And I really love that boss, man. And they took it from me. They took it away from me.
Took it from you.
They took it from me. So and it was short, man. It was fully priced, and you can complete that shit in like 90 minutes. It's so damn short.
Yeah, it's pretty short. They also showed off like a Don Doku Island and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which comes out I believe in like January. They had first gameplay look at Still Wakes the Deep, which looks
what do you think of that?
Can't wait. I can't wait. Dude, a horror game set on an oil rig? Bro, I'm so there. I cannot wait for that game. Early next year, I think. Manor Lords reveals his PC Game Pass release date, which I'm sure you probably really liked, right?
Oh yeah, that was my game of the show.
Manor Lords.
It's my game of my show.
They announced Future Lab and Thunderful announced Ikaro Will Not Die, which I thought looked cool.
Spiritual successor to a game called Velocity, apparently.
Set in a futuristic neon facility. I didn't play Velocity, but I know of Velocity. Yeah. Spirit of the North 2 with kind of look like an Ori-esque game with like a fox and a bird. They had a new trailer for RoboCop Rogue City, which is coming out real soon. Seems people like that.
Have you played that?
I've not played RoboCop, no. I'm kind of leaning on actually getting it when it comes out.
It's pretty good, man. I played the demo on Steam Next Fest. It's got a charm. Like I kind of feel like they understood the homework, right?
They understood the assignment. Okay.
They understood the assignment. It's not like don't expect it to be like Alan Wake kind of visuals and stuff. It's got like an old school, almost retro Xbox 360 look about it. But there's something just so crunchy and satisfying about the game, and also like they really get RoboCop. Like you know like RoboCop the third movie didn't get RoboCop. I kind of feel like this game actually does get RoboCop. So yeah, it's
the same people who did the Terminator game, right? I believe.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
they showed off some stuff of Dungeons and Hinterberg, and then they announced that the finals was having an open beta on Xbox, which you can play right now, which is from what's the name? Embark Studios. Studios, yeah. Which are a bunch of developers from EA, DICE, the Battlefield franchise.
Why did I say Free Radicals?
I don't know. I don't know why you felt like you had to say that. So
my brain just completely went crazy there.
So what do you think? Are you down with this? Down with the format? Do you hope that Xbox does more of these moving forward?
I do. I think the format's really cool. I would like them all to have consistent branding though, because like you were saying earlier, like everyone has different branding. I kind of wish. I think like they should just come up with one branding and stick with it.
Okay.
Like, personally, and maybe just tweak it a little bit.
You don't like the idea that there was developer_direct and this isn't like partner_preview or something?
Yeah, kind of. It's like it was made by a different agency or something. Like I think there needs to be some kind of iconography consistency between these shows. But other than that, like I thought the format was good. The They didn't overhype it. They didn't inflate expectations, which they've been guilty of doing in the past. I thought it was well managed, and they didn't they announced it and then they didn't give people a very much lead time to overhype themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just sort of dropped it and then it was decent. And I think like the managing of the expectations beforehand is half of the effort, honestly. Because I think like you talked about Jeff Keighley's The Poll and most people were positive towards it. I think that's because of the way they manage expectations, partially. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it, and I think they're onto something good here. They're onto something really good.
Yeah, Tina, Meanie, and your team are cooking. They got a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for here? Not hands in the oven, but like they're doing chefs in the kitchen or whatever that saying is. It's not chefs in the kitchen. It's like irons in the fire. There you go. It's a whole bunch of irons in the fire. They're doing a whole bunch of different stuff. I mean, and they should.
In the bucket.
And they should. Xbox wants to be, the leader of the industry. You're going to have to do more of these. You have a ton of games that are coming from first parties, so you need to do developer directs, and you need to have killer showcases, and you need to highlight the third-party games, so, those third-party developers want to put their games on Xbox, so they feel like they're not getting overshadowed by the first-party stuff. You need to do more of these. So, yeah, I like seeing it.
Okay.
We have Meat Puppet saying the Quarry is an interesting cheap horror game. I like the Quarry. I thought it was good. That was Supermassive Games. I think it came out last year. And Joe Repko, a.k.a. Flame, member for 28 months, says there's no way Jez has admitted he has a thing for tentacles. Jez, please stop watching so much adult anime. Have a great show, folks. Yeah, you're a freak, dude. Maybe
I just like cephalopods, man. Maybe I'm a marine biologist.
Yeah, we're going to find out that Jez's girlfriend cosplays as an octopus or something.
God damn. That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. Well, so moving on, we have the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, said that they're doubling down on being a game publisher and developer, a game producer and developer, and this led to speculation by some PlayStation fans that this means Xbox is going third party.
Good luck with that.
That's
all I say about that, bro.
It's just like, I think they want it to be so bad so they can say they won the console war, which, you know what? You won. Phil Spencer admitted they lost, right? But it's a different battle that Xbox is fighting, and it's just admit it. You want the games. You want all the Xbox Game Studio games. You want all the Blizzard games. You want all the Activision games and Bethesda games on your console. I get it. So yeah, I can understand why you could see this and being like, oh, well, they're just going to go third party and put everything on PlayStation. Like, cope a little bit, some. Mm. I don't know how you could read this quote and just being like, yep, they're dropping console, they're dropping their whole ecosystem, and they're going to go all in on PlayStation or whatever. Right? So basically, in an interview with MSN, the acquisition topic was brought up and why the Activision deal was so important. Right? And he says they're really excited about it. He says, for us, there are a few things that go all the way back for us as a company. Gaming is one. When I think about Microsoft, I think of perhaps developer tools, I can't say this word. What is wrong with me? Proprietary software and gaming. These are three things that we've done from the very beginning. And so to us, gaming is the one place where we think we have a real contribution to make in consumer markets, except Brazil, where they're going to raise prices for the Series S by 40%, apparently. If I look at it, the amount of time people allocate to gaming is going up, and Gen Z is going to do more of that. The way games are made, the way games are delivered is changing radically, whether it's mobile or consoles or PC or even the cloud. So we're looking forward to really doubling down as both a game producer and a publisher. Now we'll be one of the largest game publishers and also as a company that's building platforms for it. And apparently people took this to mean, well, they're going third party. That's what this means.
Yes, not what it means, bro.
Sorry.
Not what it means, bro.
Because also Microsoft had their financial results, and people are starting to maybe finally understand exactly Microsoft's strategy because they beat expectations on content and services and gaming revenue.
And they were up, and they were like the industry's the tech industry is quite depressed at the minute.
Right.
But
They were
Microsoft
up like
shares were
revenue
up,
is
up,
like either
up,
revenue was up
baby.
13% or content and services up at 13%. One of them was up by 9 or something, all based off of like the success of Starfield, which is over 11 million players now and had the biggest single day Game Pass signups in the history of the service. It's their best quarter one of all time. Period. End of story. And it all did it in the fact that Xbox hardware still declined by 7%. So a lot of people that I follow on social media that are sales analysts are finally, coming around and being like, oh, I can actually see the strategy that Xbox is doing. Like, yeah, their hardware is declining, but look at the increase in, all these different other aspects, right?
In everything.
And everything else. And it's like, okay, granted, like I still think you can increase hardware. I think, Starfield, even though it declined 7%, maybe it would have declined worse if Starfield wasn't a part of that quarter, right? Because there still was July and August, so it's like, okay, September comes, here's Starfield, people are buying it, but I think even Satya said like almost half the time was on PC, which PC was obviously main driver for Starfield. But when you look at the next quarter, Jez, when you look at so starting October, November, and December, Microsoft has their guidance out, and they're basically projecting revenue is going to be up 50% and content and services is going to be up 40%, all because the ABK deal. So like Xbox,
can you imagine us sitting there like I don't know, like 5 years ago when we started talking about this, that we would be discussing a quarter-over-quarter revenue jump of 50%,
yeah,
or 40% or whatever. Can you imagine that? It's absolutely insane. It's insane times. And that's all that Call of Duty money. That's all the PlayStation microtransactions from Overwatch.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's all the Activision Blizzard content, but also
everything.
includes
it's all the horse armor that I bought in Diablo this week.
But also includes a healthy increase in Xbox hardware, because I think people have done the math, and it would basically include a 23% increase in Xbox hardware revenue, which would be the most of this generation. So they're expecting Xbox hardware to do pretty big things this holiday. I mean, we know their marketing has increased, so yeah, they're expecting big things.
There's a price drop coming, man.
There's a price drop coming.
Yeah,
there's rumors that there's like a price cut coming from the Series X. Yeah,
Black Friday. Yeah, keep an eye on that. But yeah, it's crazy times, man. It's absolutely just ridiculous, crazy, madcap, crazy times. I wish that I'd kept my Microsoft shares that I had like a million years ago. Before I was a blogger, I had $200 worth of Microsoft shares, and they've gone up like 600% since I had that share. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's like, hey, free money, baby. But it's such a turnaround, man. It's such a turnaround.
And if you didn't know, Microsoft investors do not give a single flying fuck about Xbox, because there is not a single question about the Activision deal or Xbox in general. They do not care about Xbox whatsoever. The investors are like, so tell us about Azure. Tell us about that and the other things that make us money.
I think as long as Xbox is doing well, they don't care. If Xbox is doing really badly and dragging down the whole company, I think they'd care.
Well, I don't think it'll ever drag down the whole company. No, I mean, you're about to say it's about to be bigger than Windows, right?
Yeah, I mean, it will be bigger than Windows with this 50% extra, which is wild. You just what world do we live in where Windows is not as big as Xbox? But Windows should have a good year next year as well, because which is probably should be another topic we should discuss, is Qualcomm's new chips, which are pretty crazy. And it dovetails into Xbox, because one of the rumors was that Microsoft was exploring partnering with Qualcomm instead of AMD for the next Xbox, which at the time had us scratching our heads like, oh, they're just doing it out of like, they've got to do a tender for two different companies or whatever, doing their due diligence or whatever. But actually, no, because the new Snapdragon is ridiculously powerful, and it's gonna ignite a new era for Windows laptops, kind of like what the new Apple Mac Silicon did. So Windows should have a good year next year as well, but like maybe even gaming handhelds. Maybe even this is where Xbox goes, and maybe even we get an Xbox handheld out of this. It's crazy the possibilities that are being put in place right now, from the convergence of Xbox having all this content, from like new technologies like AI and Qualcomm stuff, and new chips coming along, and all this stuff converging in one place. It's such a exciting time in gaming. I just hope they don't fuck it all up. Because let's be honest with ourselves, Rand. Microsoft is great at fucking things up.
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are, yeah.
Yeah, let's be completely honest with ourselves here. So like there's with great excitement comes not without a little twinge of nervousness. I'll be completely honest, but it wouldn't be me without nervousness, right, Rand?
Right, but also Microsoft reorged Xbox because they're huge now, and they needed a little bit of reorganization, and a lot of it centered around Matt Booty and Sarah Bond. So Matt Booty is now president of game content and studios, which includes the new responsibility of ZeniMax. So I think ZeniMax CEO Jamie Letter, who is used to report directly to Phil, I believe, now reports directly to Matt. So Matt got an expansion of responsibility. He's president of game content and studios. And Sarah Bond is now president of Xbox. What'd you call her on Xbox? La Madame Presidente or whatever. What did you say?
Madame President. Isn't that what
Madame President? Okay.
Yeah. Because if there was a woman president, it wouldn't be Mrs. President. It'd be Madame President, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I know that because of Battlestar Galactica. So, but yeah, Madame President Bond. Kind of cool, right? But yeah, the huge reorg, and it's not just the reorg was publicized heavily in our community on the Xbox side, but actually Microsoft's entire consumer business got reorganized.
Yeah, so hold on 1 second. We'll just talk about what Sarah's responsibilities are, Matt, and then you can explain that to me. You can tell the people when you explained it to me yesterday, because I didn't know, right? So Matt's president of game content and studios, oversees now ZeniMax. Hopefully it leads to less games like Redfall, where Matt has can oversee and help. Sarah Bond is now the president of Xbox, bringing together devices, player and creator experiences, platform engineering, strategy, business planning, data and analytics, and business development. So she's essentially kind of head of Xbox. I guess it would determine where you're at. If you're in game studios, she wouldn't necessarily be your boss. It would be, your manager, and then Matt Booty or whatever. But it sounds like she's essentially what Phil Spencer was before 2018, before Matt Booty became head of Xbox Game Studios and took over that responsibility. When Phil had all that responsibility, it sounds like she's basically in Phil's position minus having the responsibility of the game content, which Matt is. So she's Madame President of Xbox, and that has a lot of responsibilities. I still think they're gearing her up to replace Phil or whenever Phil retires. So I think eventually you'll have Sarah Bond, Microsoft CEO of gaming, whenever Phil decides he's done enough, right? Which then also kind of leads to this whole idea of who's gonna run ABK, because we have a picture here of the leadership structure where Phil Spencer's on top, and you have Matt Booty, president of game content and studios, Sarah Bond's president of Xbox, Dave McCarthy's the chief operations officer, Jarrett West, chief marketing officer, Amy Silverman, chief consumer sales officer, Bobby Kotick, chief executive officer, and Jocelyn Main, chief of staff. And then you have Cynthia Purley, corporate vice president, Carrie Perez, general manager, Lyndon Norman, corporate vice president, and Tim Stewart, corporate vice president. That's the chain. So Bobby Kotick reports directly to Phil. So I'm kind of curious what happens when Bobby leaves in January and they have to replace him, because they're going to have to give somebody the CEO privilege at Activision. But
if I had to guess, and I do because it's a podcast where we speculate.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, I would think they don't replace Bobby Kotick.
Really?
I think everything operationally, everything that's to do with operations will go to Sarah Bond, and they'll all the tech teams or whatever, the developer teams on the tech side, all they'll answer to Sarah Bond, and I think all the game teams and the game on the game side, they will answer Matt Booty, and then the marketing will answer there and so forth. I think this restructure has sort of been put in place as to not need a CEO for Activision. I kind of feel like.
Well, I mean, there's still CEO of Bethesda. He's just under Matt now, and I still think there's going to be CEO of Activision. He's just going to be he's just going to be under Matt.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so,
dude. If they have they still have a CEO of Bethesda. They still have a CEO of Bethesda. They're going to have a CEO of Activision.
I think if he left, they wouldn't have a CEO of Bethesda either.
No, maybe.
I don't think there'll be a CEO of Activision. I don't think they'll replace Kotick. I would bet money on that. I don't think they'll replace Kotick. I think they're gonna. I think what they'll do is they'll just separate all his duties between the teams that exist there now. I don't think there'll be a CEO of Activision personally. Could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think I'm right. I think I'm a genius.
But what does this also mean because you mentioned to me that this means Phil now has complete control of marketing, because marketing was outside of this and is now completely under him, which is one of the reasons why Caposali is his name, who'd been there for 32 years, Capocella. He's left, and Takashi Numato is now head of marketing. And you basically told me that this means that like all their consumer products are under Phil now, are under gaming essentially.
From what I understand, essentially, is that the consumer organization group, which is in charge of their physical retail operations and their sales operations and their consumer marketing operations, not just for Xbox, but also for Windows and all that kind of stuff. I think that's all under Xbox now. Well, I don't think that. I know that. They said that. Consumer Services Organization, I think, or something like that. All that's under Xbox now. And I think, like, previously, when Chris was separate and Windows was still its own entity and stuff like that, I kind of feel like there must have been some kind of friction. There must have been some kind of friction with regards to how Xbox was marketed, but also how Xbox engages with sales teams in different places. And one thing I've heard repeatedly, one of the reasons why PlayStation does so much better in Europe than Xbox is because PlayStation has way better retail representation in Europe than Xbox does. I've heard this repeatedly. One thing that Activision does really well, and I think we talked about this the other week, was Activision has amazing sales team for retail. Call of Duty, like, if one of the things you'll know from if you ever go into a retail store for gaming or frankly any electronics, is that Activision always had a really strong presence there. For Call of Duty, for Guitar Hero before it, for Skylanders before it. Like one of Bobby Kotick's strategies was to occupy shelf space in retail stores. That was one of his things, you know. And that tradition that Bobby Kotick is sort of bringing with him from Activision to Xbox is going to inherit that now. So they're going to inherit all this sales and this retail stuff, but they're going to sort of put that under the new consumer organization, which now sits under Xbox and gaming and entertainment, or whatever they want to call it. Because really, it's all consumer products now. Like Microsoft is no longer a company where Xbox is a footnote. It's not like, oh, we do cloud, we do Office, we do Windows. Oh, and here's a little bit of gaming underneath Windows. No, Microsoft is a gaming company now. They are a gaming company. They're a cloud and gaming company. And it's actually Windows that's kind of fallen off on, because like, how do you monetize Windows this day and age? There's nowhere for it to grow. It's already complete blanket monopoly on desktop. So there's nowhere for Windows to grow at this point. And they can't really monetize it anymore because it's an open platform, blah, 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 blah. We all know that story. So there's like there's huge amount of implications here. And Phil just has like more control over the destiny of Xbox than ever before. And it's taken this long to politic Xbox out from the tendrils of Windows. Like people, long-time listeners of podcasts remember me talking about Terry Myerson and when Xbox was under Windows, and how Terry Myerson was just like, no, Phil, you can't have this money. No, here's a hard budget on this. And like back in the day, it was there were people on Twitter saying like Xbox has got a budget cap now, and it's not and people, and then like right after that, like Xbox's budget grew or whatever. It's not like that was a lie. It was like, or misinformed. It was just like, that was the reality at the time. Harry Myerson was like sort of politicking Xbox to share a budget with Windows and stuff, but that's not the case anymore. Like Xbox is now its own entity with control of its own destiny. And not only is it in control of its own destiny, it has so much political clout to Microsoft, more than it's ever had before, that it's like, we're gonna see things that we've just never seen from this company now. It's no more like nickel and diming. It's no more like, here's like low budget games and here's like a low budget marketing and all this kind of stuff. I really feel like we're seeing is a reboot of Xbox. We're seeing like a hard reset of Xbox, and that's ultimately what this reorg's a reflection of. It's really exciting.
Well, man. You even mentioned to me that essentially now the marketing's directly under Phil, is it not? Where before that necessarily wasn't the case, and could be one of the reasons why all of a sudden you're seeing the marketing go hard, because now marketing answers directly to Phil, right? Or something?
Yeah. I get that impression. I think part of it is the regulatory battles are over. I think that is part of it, maybe.
Well, they have to gear up for the regulatory battle of getting Sega, though.
I don't think that would be much of a battle as ABK, but
well, they need to go for those Embracer studios first and foremost. Save those before Embracer shuts them down.
Square Enix.
Yeah, the Square Enix studios and stuff.
Well, Amazon signed a deal for Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they own the whole IP now or if they just signed a one-off deal or something, but I don't know. Maybe Xbox feels they could just work with Embracer and just constantly have those other studios work for them without buying them outright. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the reorg, everything going around about that, Satya doubling down on games, like best quarter one ever. And then next quarter, they're literally going to have their best quarter of all time, right?
Yeah.
It'll be their best Q2 of all time. And then, because people are always like, oh, what has Phil done? It's like, well, do you see what the Xbox revenue was in 2014 when he took over and what it's about to be?
Who says that?
I've seen people say that all the time.
Nobody with a brain.
I've even seen people say that you can't look at Xbox's revenue from now on. You have to separate it out from ABK to get it.
Come on.
No, I've seen people make that argument, and even like Amy Hood, when she made the projections for next quarter, basically said that they were projecting like 35-point increase with just ABK, but they were projecting mid to high 50s, right, or mid to high 40s, which means they were still expecting Xbox to increase like 10% or whatever, like revenue and content and services and stuff. So it's just like all this on top of it. And yeah, so it's like all this great stuff from the partner preview to these power moves they're making and everything. And then they end the week by raising the price in Brazil for no reason by 40%, just to say, fuck you, I guess.
Yeah, that is really
I mean, because if they did that shit here in the US, people would be telling them to fuck off, right? That wouldn't stand, but it's Brazil, so maybe there isn't going to be as much outrage when there really should be. So
yeah, there should be outrage, bro. I can't get a sort of definitive answer on what's going on here. The best I can get is market conditions. So I don't know what that means. Market conditions.
Market conditions. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
And that's basically yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I kind of feel like I'd have to really do some serious research. I need to speak to a Brazilian economist. That's what I need. Is anyone in the chat a Brazilian economist? I need to speak to you right now. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I just wish I could give a straight answer. Just tell us the reason, man. Man, I hate not knowing. That's why I became a journalist. I just hate not knowing.
Jez, I don't know if you realize this, but Remember when those emails came out with Phil, and Phil said it would be the prime gaming asset for them would be Nintendo, and how they wanted to acquire them in 2020 or whatever? Nintendo's Doug Bowser was asked about this.
Oh,
during an interview.
Today?
No, this was last week on Friday after the podcast. Essentially.
Okay. I think I actually saw this.
We talked a little bit about it on ILP, but essentially, when he was asked about it, he basically said that they have a great relationship with Microsoft and they consider them to be partners in many, many ways. And you only have to look at the Nintendo Switch to see that partnership because, Smash is Banjos and Smash and Minecraft is on there. Yeah. And he mentioned how basically he's been in the industry for 16 years and studios get acquired and new studios form up out of the ashes of those and stuff, and it's whatever. I don't know. I find it funny that somebody went to, Doug Bowser of Nintendo and was that, so what do you think about Phil Spencer wanting to buy Nintendo? And it's not like he came out and said absolutely not, no way. He was just kind of just being like, hey, we're great partners with Microsoft.
Well,
right?
Well, this is because he understands that he doesn't own Nintendo. It's not his Nintendo to make that call. If Microsoft came to them with a ridiculous valuation, they'd have to ask their shareholders. They have to do this kind of stuff. So like, it's the diplomatic answer at the end of the day, and also because they're getting Call of Duty out of it. But I tell you another reason why this is, right. Okay. A lot of people don't really appreciate this, but Nintendo and Microsoft are neighbors. Nintendo of America is next door to Redmond HQ in Redmond, in Seattle, or wherever that is, Washington. So like they're next door to each other. The staff hang out. They're like besties, BFFs and stuff. And that's why there's like oftentimes collaborations between Nintendo and the kind of collaborations you see between Nintendo and Xbox that just you wouldn't see that between Xbox and PlayStation for whatever reason. And so it's not like they're mortal enemies or anything. They coexist, and Phil obviously is a great admirer of Nintendo. And I think part of the inspiration to actually acquire a studio like Bethesda, I mean, not just Bethesda, but also Activision, is that Nintendo-like legacy of recognizable nostalgic IP. Xbox has never had that. Like, outside of Halo, they've never really had that. Like, there is nostalgia for Gears, but it's low-key, and I don't know if there's the same kind of nostalgia for simulation games. Like, I've talked before about how most people can't form an emotional attachment to an airplane or a car in the same way that you can to a cartoon or a blue hedgehog or a Italian plumber or whatever. And I think Xbox has always lacked that kind of mascot brand power that Nintendo has. And I think, like, Phil's always admired that, And when I first started in this business, and I went to my first Xbox event at Gamescom, and Aaron Greenberg was asking me for feedback, and I was like, "You've got to lean into nostalgia more. Where's your Age of Empires? Where's this? Where's that? Lean into your nostalgia more." And I kind of feel like they're taking that to levels that I would never have expected.
Yeah. So while we're talking about the Xbox stuff, I guess PlayStation's also been in the news, but for differing reasons. Spider-Man 2, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but Spider-Man 2 sold well. They announced 2.5 million copies in one day, which is what PlayStation said the fastest selling first party PlayStation game ever. But they haven't given any updates since. So because like PlayStation always, like, every one of their games sort of like, it's like, oh, Spider-Man did 3.3 million in 3 days, which is the fastest. Then it was Last of Us Part 2, which did 4 million in 3 days. And then it was like God of War Ragnarok, which did 5 million in 5 days. So Spider-Man 2's looking to do really well. And Eric Lampel went on and an interview talked about how they're going to have a great holiday, maybe even reach 25 million. Basically said, hey, we had to raise prices of PlayStation Plus to make it better, and that was his reasoning for raising the prices on PlayStation Plus. But as we know, Jim Ryan's leaving, but also there's some turmoil going on at PlayStation because longtime PlayStation vet who has credits on like 135 games, their head of internal production as first reported by David Jaffe, and a lot of people didn't believe him, especially the PlayStation fans. They did not believe him. Basically said that, there's a lot of developers at PlayStation don't agree with the games as a service approach, which Jason Schreier had sort of talked about in one of his articles, but that essentially Connie Booth, who was head of their internal production, was fired, and like her and her team like walked out or something. And we didn't hear anything for a couple days. And then I think yesterday Sony confirmed that they have indeed parted ways, but no explanation from either company, which probably does lead credence to the fact that she was fired. And if you look at her resume list, it is really impressive. In fact, I know this won't happen, but I was thinking, if you need to replace somebody for ABK, maybe Microsoft should hire her to run ABK.
Yeah,
or,
maybe.
You know what? Maybe Microsoft should just hire her anyways and put her under booty and give her like a huge raise and have her help out on all these, because as she helped out on all the PlayStation games. Because that is somebody that has a super impressive resume, has been around the industry forever, and I think you could really benefit from that sort of talent and experience.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure her phone's, assuming she, doesn't want to retire, she's worked at Sony for so long, maybe she wants to hang it up, but I'm sure if she doesn't want to, I'm sure she'll have her pick of suitors. I'm sure there are probably plenty of companies calling her, right?
Amazon.
Amazon being one, maybe Netflix. Netflix was building like a AAA gaming studio or whatever. Maybe EA or Take-Two or somebody. But if I'm Xbox, if I'm Phil or I'm Matt, I'm on the phone. Not only could you get like, hey, help us make our games as best as they possibly can, which is something Xbox needs, but also, hey, sort of Sony secrets, we accidentally leaked our whole plan. What sort of Sony secrets do you know? You know what I mean? Like little internal espionage or whatever.
That should be under NDA. She's probably under a no compete, actually.
Well, no, I don't think she would be. If she was fired, she's probably not under a no compete.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
If she retired, she would be under that, or if she left or whatever, if it was a mutual parting, she probably would be under a non-compete. But if they fired her, I don't think those non-competes hold up like that. Well, even if you had to wait a year, it doesn't matter. Like that, I think that is somebody that you want with your organization, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you have essentially like, the PlayStation selling a lot of consoles, making a lot of money, Spiderman doing great, but then you got Jim Ryan leaving. You have layoffs at Media Molecule. You have layoffs at Visual Arts. You have the layoff with Connie Booth, and it seems like a different PlayStation kind of we're starting to see a little bit.
Well, it is a different PlayStation, like actually, because Jim Ryan is on the out, and there's obviously going to be a difference of opinion with whoever comes in to replace Jim Ryan, and whoever's replacing Jim Ryan. There's an interim guy right now, right?
Yeah, clearly, I think the COO is doing double duty.
Well, there's clearly someone above Jim who's just like, I want this changed right now. Something is seriously wrong. I think PlayStation is spooked by ABK. I think
they're spooked. You think so?
I think they're spooked. I think they're
Jim Ryan's emails would point to that not being the case, and they sort of laughed. They're like, maybe they should build an electric car. Remember his emails? Remember Jim's lies?
Yeah, but that was Jim. I think people above Jim are probably spooked about it, and I think like they're probably like, what is our long-term plan here? Because you got to remember, these companies don't think about the right now. They think about the next fiscal year. They think about the next 5 fiscal years, or even the next 10 fiscal years. There's a famous quote from Bill Gates, which, by the way, was quoted to me by Agostino Simonetta, the chief games officer from Thunderful, who I did an interview with this past week, talking about Game Pass and things like that. He reminded me of a really great quote from Bill Gates, and I'm paraphrasing slightly here, but he said something along the lines of people overestimate the near term and underestimate the long term, or the medium to long term, And I think PlayStation could be guilty of underestimating the medium to long term. I don't think VR is going to be a thing. I think all the investment that PlayStation sunk into VR is a massive waste of money. And I think someone above Jim Ryan's just like, what? Why are we doing this? Look at how much Facebook's investing in this space, and they're getting absolutely nowhere with it. Like Facebook is like, they're investing billions per quarter. They're losing billions per quarter on VR and gaining no ground. That has to be an indicator that, you know, potentially you're not gonna outspend Facebook on VR. You're just not gonna do it. And if Facebook can't make it work, there's no way. Even with all the great IP Sony owns, there's just no way that you're going to be able to outspend Facebook on the technology to make that work. And you know, and that's even disregarding things like patents and that sort of stuff. So, like, meanwhile, Microsoft's investing its money where? In mobile, really. And that's ultimately like where gaming is increasingly moving. Like, whether all the people that are playing core games right now, an increasing amount of Gen Z and Gen Alpha people are just not interested in core gaming. They want their free to play, they want their trending games, they want their mobile, they want the easy access of mobile and the freemium experience, whatever, you know. And I'm sure that like everyone who's listening to this show, whether you're in your sort of 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s even, like we're all going to be I reckon we're all going to be playing core games until we all drop dead. And I think there'll be enough of us to keep spending, to keep that platform running. But that's not, you know, that's not going to be a forever scenario. And that's not a recipe for growth. A recipe for growth is targeting everyone. It's targeting everyone who's playing games right now, who's got everyone who's got spending money and purchasing power, but it's also targeting your Gen Z and your Gen Alpha. Like Gen Z's at university now, and they're coming into spending ridiculous amounts of money age, and then you got Gen Alpha who are like, you know, they're starting to, you know, toddle around, and they're sort of like, oh, actually, games are pretty cool, but we're playing mostly Roblox on iPads and stuff like that. We're not interested in these $70 games and stuff. So that's where the investment's going to be. Because and the one constant in all of this, no matter what generation you're in, whether you're in Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen X, or millennial, or whatever, or even a boomer, none of us are interested in VR. Sorry, none of us care about VR. It's just the fact of the matter. Facebook spent billions trying to make this work, and it just doesn't work, you know. And I'm sorry for anyone in chat who's a VR fan or whatever. The market has spoken and continues to speak. You know, it's just, and Facebook is warning their investors literally this week, saying we plan to continue losing money on VR. Doesn't sound that doesn't sound healthy to me. That doesn't sound intellectual to me. That sounds like we're all in now and we can't back out, because if we back out, we're admitting failure. Facebook is praying. They are praying to the gods that something happens that makes VR a thing. They are praying, but it's not going to happen for them, unfortunately. It's just really not. And I honestly think part of the upheaval at PlayStation is probably related to the investment in VR and the lack of investment in mobile. But we could see all that change, you know. That could be totally wrong.
Or maybe some of their games as a service games not turning out good. Like, you know, Bungie, it, you know. Maybe, you know, Factions may being canceled, the Deviation game may being canceled and stuff. Like, that is a dangerous road to walk because it's so unsure. Like, yeah, you can do a Spider-Man game and it's going to be successful. You can do another God of War game and it's going to be successful. The problem is it's going to sell to the same amount of people that the previous one sold to, right? So what you're going to have to do is the investors want to see growth, but you're not going to grow with God of War Ragnarok 2. You're going to make a lot of money, but you're not going to grow because you're not going to get any new people. What they want is they want their own Fortnite. That's what PlayStation wants. They want their own Apex Legends. They want their own Grand Theft Auto. They want their own Fortnite. They want their own, you know, Madden or FIFA, where it's just a constant influx of money that they can show to investors that they're, you know, it's constantly growing. PlayStation's better than it's ever been. And if they don't get that, it's kind of like, oh, what are we doing here? We spent all this money on chasing games as a service, and it may not pan out. Whereas like Xbox Xbox has $13 billion franchises. They just added Call of Duty and Overwatch and Diablo and World of Warcraft. Like tried and true, games as a service stuff. In fact, a lot of Xbox games that are working on from first party and Bethesda are most likely single player with maybe a hint and a dash of co-op, but I don't really see them making a lot of live service games or games as a service stuff, because
that's the thing. Like Xbox invested in service games early, so like they nailed your Forza Horizon. They've somehow managed to nail Halo Infinite, despite the launch. Like the narrative on Halo Infinite has done a complete 180 in recent times. Like I see like major influencers talking really favorably about Halo Infinite, and that is like I thought we'd have to wait to the next game to see that. So like that's a testament to Microsoft's ability to stick it out. And honestly, Rand, it's a testament to Xbox's willingness to fail. I think one of the issues with Sony is that they are just not willing to ship something that they have to patch and fix up later. Like take Days Gone, for example. Like they abandoned Days Gone like it was, I don't know, yesterday's underwear or something, because it wasn't the AAA mega 90 Metacritic absolute perfect banger that the PlayStation game has become known for. But they fixed it up later, and when I come to play it on PC, I thought it was rather excellent, and I was like, "Hey, why was everyone so mad at this game?" And like people like yourself told me that like at launch it wasn't that particularly great, but now Sony wants nothing to do with it because they feel like it harms their brand or something. But the thing about service games is you have to be willing to ship them first, and find out. I think a lot of service games don't get good until after a couple of major updates. And, if you are not willing to ship factions and you're not willing to put out a game that maybe is flawed and maybe isn't perfect, you'll never be able to, figure it out how to actually make it happen. Because I don't think you can never hire enough testers to really test how a service game is going to happen in the real world. Sometimes it just happens organically. And we all know the story about Among Us. Among Us had launched and it existed for like years before it went viral, and then it just so happened that some random influencers played it after it had been updated a whole bunch, and then it became this massive phenomenon, right? I don't think Sony's got it in them to, like, they're not for whatever reason they don't seem willing to do trial and error, like a Sea of Thieves, which is now Rare's most successful game ever, and inexplicably one of the best-selling games of this year, which I was surprised to see. And that's a result of the fact that they stuck with Sea of Thieves, they stuck with it hard, and now it's become a really popular game that's like survives in its own right. It's its own sustainable business. But it wasn't without like at least what was it, 60 on Metacritic? It was bare bones, not to use a bones pun, because the skeletons and stuff. It was absolutely bare bones at launch, and far cry from the fantasy that they were going for. But now it's like something really special, and I kind of feel like a game like Factions probably, if they'd launched it, tested it with the audience, done the early access kind of thing, maybe it could have evolved into something good. But I feel like they think too highly of themselves, like, oh, we only release AAA bangers here every single time, and we don't want to risk another All-Stars, or we don't want to risk another Days Gone or whatever. And I don't know. I kind of feel like Sony's cornered themselves a little bit. But a lot of this speculation. I don't have a fly on the wall at Sony HQ. Don't know what's going on. And I'm sure Sony will be fine at the end of the day. But they are looking for that growth. And I think maybe they just thought Jim Ryan's too old school, maybe he's not got the right skill set to actually make us into the next Tencent or whatever, because that's really what Microsoft wants to be. They want to have their cake and eat it. They want to be a Tencent that also has a platform.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how you become the biggest that's how you become the biggest gaming company. You follow Tencent's model, but you also have your own console.
Yeah, you put your games everywhere, but also have your own platform, so you can take 30% of everybody else's games too.
So like every platform that exists today in gaming, all the big ones, they either have like massive service games or they have a massive platform where they take a cut. So Apple and Google, they take a cut. They don't really have big games of their own. Tencent has very, very big games, but no platform. Microsoft's going to have both. They're going to be like, we're going to be Tencent and Apple combined. Screw it. We're going to be the biggest and best. And that's a business model that I feel like Sony would be really envious of. Even if Sony's got 2-to-1 more consoles than Xbox, 2-to-1 install base, or 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 even, they're going to be envious of what the business model that Microsoft ends up with when they start, they finish this integration.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
it's intriguing.
It is. I want to talk about Spider-Man 2 because I finished it.
Spider-Man.
I finished it 25 hours, did 100%.
Rand.
What?
No, don't forget the cliff notes. You got to downplay it.
Yeah. So Spider-Man 2, just okay. The bugs, my God, I don't know how anybody played this game. It's unpolished and completely unfinished. It definitely seemed like it should have came out next year. No, my experience, it's like I saw all the bugs on Twitter, and I was just like, man, those are some awful bugs. Like that's some like unpolished stuff, but I only had one bug my entire time, and I played for 25 hours, and I did everything in the game. I had one bug where you're riding a bike, and you go off a jump, and my bike sunk into the ground. Half my bike was in the ground, and half my bike was above ground. And I was pedaling
Are you telling me that people were sensationalizing the Spider-Man bugs on social media for clout?
No, because I think they're definitely, clearly just from the videos and stuff you would see, I think it's not like everybody's going to have bugs, but I think because Komodo Tongue, in one of the Discords we in, he's constantly posting videos of all the bugs he gets into, and if that was me, I'd be like upset. But I told him, I was like, dude, I had one bug. I had my bike going to the ground, and that was it. I didn't have the cube bug where Spider-Man and Miles Morales turned into a sugar cube. I didn't have any of these other bugs. I just had one. But I think some of it is like, there are some like Xbox fans who, like PlayStation fans, went super hard on the Starfield hate. And even websites went super hard on Starfield glitches and bugs and stuff. And I think Xbox fans saw that and then didn't see the reviewers and didn't see the websites keeping that same energy, as the kids say. Right? Here's all these bugs in Spider-Man. Why aren't there articles about it like you guys did articles about Starfield? And so I think some of that's like tit for tat, at least they view it as. But like from my own personal experience, I had one bug that lasted for 5 seconds. So, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. As for the game itself, it was incredible. It was definitely better than the first game. When you compare like story and gameplay and stuff, I thought the story was really well done, if a little bit predictable, because if you know anything about like the Venom storyline or anything, you sort of kind of know what direction they're going to go in. Whereas like the first game, I thought maybe had a more unpredictable storytelling because he's already Spider-Man and you don't really know what's going on in the world. So like the story could surprise you in ways that this one really didn't. That said, this game, the pacing in this game is immaculate. I think it's one of the best things the game does, right? It's an open world game, but the way you kind of weave in between the main missions as here's one is Peter, here's one is Miles, and then you'll like naturally come across some side content, which is one of the things the game, like these games always kind of do badly, is side content. Like one of my negatives of Spider-Man 2018 was that it was too bloated. It was too much of a map game.
Arkham Knight's side content made me want to die.
Yeah, well,
I gave that game 7 out of 10. I stand by it.
But like so this game still has a similar type of side content, but not a lot of it. And I think they learned their lesson. They're like, people didn't like the side content, so we're not going to do as much. And what they do really well is, so you have the map and you have, Brooklyn and New York and stuff, but nothing's on the map. When you look at it, you don't have icons upon icons upon icons where you would go about and like checklift stuff off. It only gets put on your map if you get close to it. So it's this really interesting pacing mechanic where you do a main mission and then you're swinging around the city and then something else pops up super close to you and you're like, oh, I'm going to go do this Mysterio mission, which is a combat challenge, or I'm going to do this photo op. It's really well done in that regard. And it really kept the game fresh because you're like jumping from, okay, I'm gonna explore a little bit because the traversal stuff in this game is amazing. I don't know if I could go back and play the other games because the ability to fly like Superman with the wings like makes it a completely transformative experience getting around the city. Like you still have the wing, you still have like, you know, your webs and you still like get around the city the same as you've always done in the previous games, but they added this thing where you can press Y at any time and you wing glide and you can get around the city a lot easier, a lot quicker and it's a lot more entertaining. So like that is a huge step up. Combat, slight improvements, but not much. It's still the same sort of combat. They did add like a new mechanic, the parry on left trigger, which I did not enjoy. Because like for 2 games, they essentially trained your brain where you see, oh, the guy's about to hit you, and you see the white like lines off their head, and now with the red, you got to press circle to dodge. And they added a parry mechanic, which is the same thing. It's like, so my brain's like seeing the white lines. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to dodge. But now I have to watch for kind of like the red lines into like, or the yellow lines into red. So as soon as I see lines, I'm just trying to dodge. And they added this parry mechanic, which I didn't really care for. And the combat is still, you know, you have your abilities you can use with left bumper, but now you can use all 4 gadgets at the same time. And once you level that stuff up, man, those gadgets become really powerful. And it is a blast, even if you're kind of doing the same combos like all the time in Spider-Man. It is still a lot of fun to swing around the city and beat up people. You know, I do have some issues with some of the story elements. Like, for one, Mary Jane missions are back, and people did not like her stealth section in the first game. But now she takes a more Watch Dogs approach because now she's taking down people because they gave her a stun gun. And I'm sorry, I just have a major issue with this. Not the Mary Jane sections itself, because I thought they were better than the first game because you actually have agency and you're going around. Even though it did feel like Baby's first stealth game. The issue I have is they make sure to tell you that Spider-Man has a 3D wearable printer on his wrist, and he loves using gadgets in fight. But then Mary Jane has a stun gun that literally knocks out all the enemies in one hit. All of them. And it takes my Peter and my Miles 10 punches and kicks to knock out one enemy. So in my head,
just got a stun gun.
Well, in my head, I'm like, why doesn't Peter or Miles use Mary Jane's stun gun so I can just one hit all these enemies? It's like, of course they can't because it's a video game and there wouldn't actually be a game. But that's the sort of internal game logic that I was just like, Insomniac's doing this not because it makes sense, but because it makes the Mary Jane missions more enjoyable. Because if you actually think about it, Miles and fucking Peter would have that stun gun on their wrist that they would just use against the enemies. So I thought that was kind of... And there's another one that I want to talk about for spoilers' sakes. But there's a couple things within the story that I was kind of just like, I don't know about this. But otherwise, presentation, immaculate, right? The voice acting, Yuri, who voices Peter, nails it again. He is so good at voicing Spider-Man. I'm always impressed by his work. Swinging around the city is better than it's ever been. Boss fights were all really good. And there is a stretch of main missions there. And I'm not going to say what they are, but there is a stretch of main missions towards kind of middle end where it's probably the best stretch of stuff Insomniac's ever done.
Oh, wow.
Like, it is incredibly impressive. Of course, then it's like followed soon after by a huge dip in quality in the main story, which was not fun whatsoever. But then it redeems himself in like the final like 2 or 3 missions. And that final mission is just, wow. It is like truly, I thought, like really something special with the way everything is choreographed. But damn, like there's that section where it was just like, and I don't want to say anything because like it'd be spoilers, but I was like really impressed. It's just, the side content's lacking, and at least they didn't bloat it like it's almost like they know they can't really create good side content, so instead of making a lot of it like they did in the first game, they just didn't make that much in this one, and they focus maybe on like one storyline that looks like it'll go to DLC. But I mean, like Miles and Peter together, their different abilities, it's always fun to get in a fight and swing around. So I mean, I thought it was better than Spider-Man, Miles Morales and Spider-Man 1. I think it's going to be nominated for Game of the Year. And it's up there for me, man. Like, I'm going to have a tough time determining what's my top 5 this year, let alone my top 10. There are just so many damn good games. Because you got, like, Hi-Fi Rush, you got Starfield, you got Resident Evil 4. I'm playing through Alan Wake. Right?
Diablo.
There's, like, Star Wars, Cocoon.
Diablo.
Like, it's an embarrassment of riches. But, yeah, I was super impressed with Spider-Man 2. And I'm really interested in seeing where Insomniac takes them, because there's kind of teases for DLC and teases for the third game, and I'm really interested in seeing where they go. So it's super quality. It's really well done. And I'm sorry if you wanted me to say if it was a buggy mess and not ready for launch, but I only had one bug. I can only tell you what I experienced. So, yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, Insomniac is carrying PlayStation. They literally, put out Spider-Man Remastered, Spider-Man Miles Morales, a Ratchet and Clanking, and Spider-Man 2. In essentially they've put out all these, like Spider-Man 1 in 2018, Miles Morales and Remastered in 2020, Ratchet and Clank in 2021, and Spider-Man 2 in 2023. That's like 5 games in 5 years, essentially.
That's a lot, bro.
I mean, they are carrying PlayStation. You could make the argument that they're one of the best AAA developers in the entire industry. And they still got Wolverine coming. I saw somebody talk about maybe like a Venom spinoff and then Spider-Man 3. It seems like they're sort of building like an MCU Marvel universe within their own games, but yeah, it's really impressive what they've done with Spider-Man. Really enjoyed it.
Sounds good, man. I actually own Spider-Man Remastered on PC, and I've still not played it. I'm not a huge superhero dude, but I'm excited for people who are, and everyone I know who's into Spider-Man seems really happy with it. Insomniac is incredible, Dave.
Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button and please subscribe if you're new. It's at 101,000, which would be impressive. Really appreciate everyone. But we're going to transition to some Patreon questions. We got about little less than an hour to go before the 4-hour mark, and we got to get out of here. So let's go, Jez. This is episode 289, Patreon questions. You can drop your own questions at patreon.com/XB2. And we'll start with Lazar Wolf, who says, Jez, thanks for showing up on Xbox Era and making me laugh so hard I almost fell off the treadmill. Rand, you showed up and were a better co-host than Nick. I feel bad for John and Jesse. Dude, I feel bad. I feel so bad for John and Jesse. Like, I even go to Jesse and be like, dude, you should come work for us at Xbox 2, produce our podcast, actually, have 2 hosts that, love Xbox and play an Xbox. John does, but like Nick is just a Nintendo fan. Like, I feel bad for John and Jesse that they have to put up with like Nick every single week and his insatiable ego. You know what I mean?
He triggered me. I've never been that triggered. I had to just resist so hard the temptation to reply when he said that he skips Alan Wake's cutscenes. I was like, oh, come on.
I mean, he's a dude that loves Nintendo and just plays Rocket League. Nick is not really a Nintendo guy. He's a Nintendo guy. He's not an Xbox guy. But we know that. I do feel bad for John and Jesse.
Why do the cutscenes are like half the point of playing Alan Wake?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
He also plays every game on easy or the easiest difficulty because he thinks games shouldn't be challenging, He just should be just a good time, which, hey, play it on whatever difficulty you like, Whatever floats your boat.
It triggered me, bro.
But this is special Nick we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like he's whatever. Silas says, "Happy early Halloween, Jezzy and Rand." In news articles, you often get the comment, "Quote: We reached out to company name for comment." Who do you reach out to? Is it specific individual you've built a relationship with, a PR firm, a general email? That's for you, Jez.
It depends on the company. Microsoft has a dedicated, an entire separate company that is literally dedicated just to doing PR for Xbox and Microsoft called Assembly. And like, so what you do is you email their inbox if you want an official press response or reply and say, "Hi, I've seen you've raised the price of the Xbox Series S in Brazil. Can you please give me an explanation for this on the record if possible?" And they will reply, or they will not reply, or they will say, "Sorry, we're not announcing anything else about it at this time," which is essentially what I received today. Like they basically pointed me at the statement they gave to the Brazilian website and said, "We don't have anything more to say about it at the moment," which is fair enough. So that's basically the way it works. Like every company does it differently. Microsoft has its own dedicated PR firm. But then other companies like, I don't know, like Take-Two or Warner Brothers or whatever, they'll use like a third party firm that handles a bunch of companies and stuff like that. Sometimes I know someone specifically at those companies who can reply. But yeah, usually in the case of Microsoft, it's reaching out to their dedicated PR firm about it. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Logan Meyer. What's up, buddy? He says, "Thought it was notable that during Xbox's trip to Blizzard, they did not have Activision branding on stuff. Do y'all think there is a chance Blizzard gets fully separated from Activision and gets placed alongside Xbox Studios Group? Matt Booty being there was notable as well." You did mention that to me, Jez, and I think you pointed it out on Twitter that it was interesting that Activision was removed from any of the Blizzard branding. Are people just looking too much into that, or does that actually mean something?
I think I was looking a little bit too much into it. Maybe like actually was Activision branding here and there, but like at the stadium where the podium rather, where Phil and that were talking, it was just Blizzard plus Xbox. There was no Activision there. I think like a lot of people are hoping at Blizzard that there will be less meddling from Activision corporate, and of course there will be, because they no longer have to answer to Activision shareholders. They all got their money. Warren Buffett got his billions or whatever. You know, now it's all good. You know, Berkshire Hathaway can go and buy some more yachts and all that kind of stuff, and now they can stop meddling in what what Blizzard does. You know, so I do think there will be some degree of decoupling, because now I kind of feel like Blizzard. I think Mike will end up answering directly to Matt Booty. I like I said, I don't think they're gonna go with the structure of having a Activision CEO, because you don't really need one in the world where Activision is no longer a publicly traded company. It's a subsidiary, right? I don't think you need one. So personally, I'm gonna go with yes, but it was a bit speculative on my part, and I don't know for sure if that'll be the case. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Achievement says, "Do you think it's possible that Microsoft keep all of Activision games multi-platform but gives Blizzard the Bethesda treatment and make all new games Xbox exclusive?" So, to me, I think you have it reversed. I think I don't know what's happening, but I would imagine Activision, there's a better chance of you getting exclusive games from Activision outside of Call of Duty, and that all Blizzard games would remain multi-platform. Because all Blizzard games are sort of these games that have long tails, the games that require large amounts of people to play. So I sort of feel like that should be flipped. It's that Blizzard games should be multi-platform, the Activision games you'd get would be exclusive. But we just don't know Microsoft's strategy at this point other than Call of Duty. It's because only one they've signed contracts for. If they really do reveal Odyssey at BlizzCon next week, do they announce platforms? Do they just say, here's the game, but we're not announcing platforms yet? Do they announce it's coming to Xbox
we have a bet
and
on
PC?
This?
No, I don't think we have a bet on this. It was
you weren't you saying you think it's going to be exclusive?
Well, I only said that because you said it was going to be multi-platform, and sometimes I like having us at least disagree on stuff. So you thought it was going to be multi-platform. I said it was going to be exclusive, just because.
Right.
I think Nick is I think this is another one of Jez versus Nick, where you say it's multi-platform and Nick says it's exclusive. So is it going to be another victory for Nick in this regard? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I could easily see Blizzard games all being multi-platform, because of the type of games they make. Really,
I think the multiplayer games would be, but just indulge me. Imagine they make a StarCraft spin-off, a single-player shooter,
okay,
in the vein of Gears. Why do you need to put that on PlayStation? I don't know.
Why do you need to put anything on PlayStation?
Well, for microtransactions, but I kind of feel like if it's a single-player game, it's maybe you're best served just using it to get people in Game Pass.
You know what? No, it's better. Put it on Nintendo. Put it on everything except PlayStation. How's that? Put it on the Switch too. You know? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how that all plays out. Billy the Brewer says Xbox had their highest revenue of any Q1 ever. Suck on that, ponies. Anywho, I grew up playing EverQuest, so naturally I'm extremely interested in World of Warcraft coming to console. With 20 years under its belt, what is the new player experience like, and does it suck less than Destiny 2? Destiny's new player experience is god-awful. But I don't know. What is the new player experience like for World of Warcraft? If I were to start playing World of Warcraft, how would I just be overwhelmed?
You would. I tell you, the new player experience of World of Warcraft is even worse than Destiny.
That's impossible.
No, I swear to God, it is worse than Destiny. It is it's so bad. And it's the biggest issue. It's the biggest issue Xbox has right now. It's just awful. And it's because there's 20 years worth of content, 20 years of overlapping continents, overlapping storylines, and all this kind of stuff. And it's not, the new player experience in WoW is not designed as a new player experience. It was an expansion. Like Battle for Azeroth was an expansion for veterans. So if you are a new player coming in, you're playing something that was not designed for new players. Vanilla was designed for new players. And I really think if they do want to grow World of Warcraft, they need to redo the new player experience from the ground up, remake Azeroth, and let people actually experience what it's like to be a new player in WoW, because right now it's terrible. And people in chat are like, "Oh, XL Reach is good." No, if it was good, WoW would be growing. WoW is shrinking. Except that XL's Reach is garbage. It is not engaging. It is boring. It is slow, and it's really easy. It's brainless, and it's terrible. It's awful. XL's Reach is a band-aid, and it's just not. It's not good, and WoW would be growing if it was fun. They need to redo the whole damn thing, and people need to accept that it's terrible. Blizzard needs to accept that XL's Reach is terrible, and Battle for Azeroth is not a good new player experience. So yeah, I would not recommend WoW to any new player in 2023, even as big as a fanboy I am.
All right. Ryan Kipple says, Dead Space never showed up on the coming to Game Pass section on my console prior to the 26th. My system is up to date. I've noticed this with previous big Game Pass releases. Have you guys experienced this? I know it's just a minor thing, but if it's a widespread issue beyond just my console, it seems odd that they're not putting major additions like that at the forefront. That might be like an EA thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's on EA. That's completely on EA.
Because Starfield was there for a while. So was Lies of P and stuff. You're right. I didn't see Dead Space there, but I think that's an EA thing where I don't think they want it there until it actually shows up. At least that's what I think. CJ, he says, "Hey gents, hope you're both doing well. Question for Jez: do you have any info on why Microsoft rewards tasks have either reduced in points considerably, or some quests have disappeared altogether? Is it simply people have gotten too much out of the scheme for Microsoft to be happy with? I have noticed that the reduction in points, the quests disappearing, and to me that's people are. To me, I would imagine that's because people are getting too much out of it. But Jez, do you have any info on any of that?
I don't have any insights there really. I know that the program has succumbed to shrinkflation. What do we call it? What else would you call it? It's shrinkflation. But I don't know why. I suppose they're adjusting it because they're kind of maybe they are. Do you think people are getting more out of it? or maybe they think like it's not worth it, or the economics don't work anymore as well as it did before. Because you have to remember, the whole point of the Microsoft Rewards program is to try and trick people to use Bing. Because the issue with Bing is that the search results are just not as good as they are on Google. And the reason they're not as good as they are on Google is because nobody uses it to give them data. So the only way they can fix that is to the only way they can fix that is to trick people into using it. They're essentially paying you to give your data to Bing to try and improve the search results. And I suppose like there comes a point where they're just like, man, this just ain't working. So, I mean, it's hard to say where the program will go. I can't imagine that it will get more generous. I mean, as Bing, if Bing did get better, I mean, there'd be less reason to give people Microsoft rewards at the end of the day. So like it won't be there forever. It serves a purpose, you know. And we all talk about how great it is, but it's not a charity. They are harvesting your data to give you those rewards. So we'll see what happens. I don't think that that'll be there forever. And if Microsoft does eventually give up on Bing, which is totally feasible, I don't think the program will live on. So you just got to enjoy it while it lasts, to be honest.
Yeah, I cashed out $50 Xbox rewards thing and bought the digital deluxe version of Alan Wake.
Oh wow!
So I was like, all right, time to use this $50 gift card. I was like, let's get it. And then I was like, oh, $50. I'm like, all right, I'm buying the $79 version of Alan Wake 2 because I get the 2 expansions. I'm like, boom, $30 it cost me or whatever it was after tax. I'm like, yes, thank you very much.
I've been using it for because all Blizzard games are linked to it, so you can get Diablo money through it, you can get Overwatch stuff through it. So like I haven't been paying for any of the battle passes. I've just been using Microsoft Rewards to get it, which is really cool. But like I say, I don't think it's gonna last forever. I think eventually they will get rid of it. So yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, baby.
We got Battered Haddock saying, with the increasing popularity of PC gaming handhelds, any concerns that the limited number of times one can set a device for offline Game Pass may come to bite? Refresh didn't seem to affect, but a clean install probably would, for instance, or if you already have a gaming laptop.
That I know that Microsoft's already thinking about this, and I'll tell you why they're thinking about it. It's because I bitched about it to them.
Oh yeah.
Because when I was testing my Asus ROG Ally, because I test a lot of devices for work, so I'm constantly switching what I'm logged into or what my home Windows is. Because much like Xbox, you have 2 licenses for Windows as well. You've got a home license for Windows and you've got a remote license for Windows. But you can only switch it so many times per year to a new device or whatever. And I hit that limit really, really quickly. So I was like to Microsoft, look, I'm trying to test the Asus ROG Ally right now, and I can't because I can't switch what my home Windows device is. So like they're aware that it's an issue, and I think they are looking at changing it. I might chase up because I was talking to someone at Microsoft about it, and they were like on the and I was giving feedback on it, as part of the insider program or whatever. So I might chase up and see if they've come to any decisions there on what policy they're going to enact. But yeah, they're aware of this, and hopefully they will have a fix for it.
Okay. Peter B says, hi, Rand and Jez. After seeing the Xbox partner preview this week, I was thinking about what other showcase could be presented in the future. Now, I like to pass this question to you guys. P.S. I'd like to recommend this to Jez for future podcast invasions. And he has like a Wikipedia link to something called Unicum. I don't know.
What? I'll check that out on the Patreon later, bro.
I mean, I don't know. I sort of feel like they're good. You have the developer direct for any sort of time you don't want to do the summer showcase for games that come out, early in the year. You have the showcase itself. Then you have a partner preview. And then you have your ID at Xbox at Twitch stuff. Or ID at Xbox with IGN where you want to do some indie stuff. I feel like that's all you really need. Really? No, like they did a big direct for Starfield. And maybe they didn't do one for Forza because Forza does their own Forza monthly every single month. And maybe they'll only do the big direct for those games. So like maybe you get one for Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe you get one. I mean, maybe it's up to each individual, like Bethesda, if they want to do one for the next Doom or something. Because I don't really see them doing an individual direct for, say, Avowed. But I feel like they, like the ones that they have are good. Like, I think that's a good amount, really. I'm not sure, if there's anything they really could add. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy personally.
Yeah. Good old Collinwood says, Happy Halloween, Rand and Jez. Question for Jez. Man, you get all the questions. So it's pretty well known around here how pessimistic you were about the ABK deal going through, but it did. Oh, we all know. We all know, Collinwood. We know.
What are you talking about? I was the most optimistic.
There are suspicions, though, that you were trying to do a reverse curse on the deal, something that holds a lot of doubt. No, it's true. Eventually he was doing the reverse curse. This was admitted to me multiple times. He was. But there was some times, though, before the reverse curse where he truly did think it was going to get blocked by the UK, which it ended up getting blocked by the UK. So Jez wasn't really wrong. It's just he ended up, because you were like, I don't know if it's going to go through, and the CMA blocked it the first time. So you were sort of right. And then, but, the FTC screwed everything up. Really, the FTC is the whole winners here, because the FTC, for whatever reason, wanted the injunction, which they lost horribly, which put like the CMA in a bad position with the cat, and suddenly Microsoft they wanted to work out a deal. Like they played the FTC so hard, and it's like, yeah, I mean, this maybe could have gone down a different way if the FTC didn't. Because imagine a scenario where the FTC doesn't fall for it, because really they put the injunction in because they literally thought Xbox was going to close over the CMA. Now, why would they think that? I don't know. But how would this all have played out if the FTC trial never happened? Would the CMA have been, would they have like really wanted to, would they have been open to this restructuring of the deal? If like the FTC didn't make that boneheaded mistake? Like, would we still be waiting? I don't know. I'm very curious to see, like, maybe in some alternate universe it didn't happen, and maybe the CMA decides to hold on to their block, or some. I don't know. But he says recently you wrote an article about Microsoft AI and how you said it would fail because it can't match the marketing power of Amazon and Google AI. So what is it? Are you trying to put a reverse curse on this, or is this the eventual fate of Microsoft's AI endeavor?
I don't put reverse curses into articles, but that's my genuine opinion. My genuine opinion on the AI is that Microsoft, and honestly, this is like, if you read it, I'm basically just echoing what Satya Nadella himself said, but he was talking about search. Satya Nadella was saying we can't grow in search because we can't control the defaults on iOS and Android. And it's like, well, dude, how are you gonna grow in AI if you can't control the defaults on iOS and Android? And I really think like this is where like consumer AI will grow. It'll grow on Android and iOS and platforms that control the default. Like Microsoft has Windows Copilot in Windows 11 now, which is like an AI chatbot, that you can open by the start menu and stuff. But I can't see anyone really using it personally. For much. I've tried to incorporate it in my workflow, but it's just kind of dumb. Like I've been like rewrite this for me, and then he just rewrites it worse. So then I have to rewrite it again. So it actually makes me less productive. So I don't use it myself, but like where AI is pretty fun with consumers is creative stuff. So like Google's using it. Google and Samsung use it to let you delete people from pictures, for example, or you can use AI to generate cool memes and stuff like that, which is kind of fun. But again, like who uses Bing? It'll be Apple and Google who like make use of that first. And like for professional applications, it's going to be Adobe probably. And then it's like, what's Microsoft got left? Like I suppose the only hope Microsoft has got is incorporating it in business stuff, and I think they will succeed there. And I said that in the article. They'll be fine in business, and like maybe they'll be. I can see a future round where, like, for example, you go into Forge mode. You go into Forge mode and you say, generate me a Halo map that looks like I don't know, a Minecraft map or it's a snowfield or something like that. And then AI will do it. It'll create a map based on your specifications in Forge. I can see that application working well for Xbox, but when it comes to like mass adoption with normies and stuff, I just don't think Microsoft will have it. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, most of the time you're usually wrong. But yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Lee Sanders says, "Hi lads, happy Alan Wake Day, Rand. You know, I've been thinking about playing Alan Wake all day today, bro. It's seriously in my mind. Like, I am just dying to get back and playing that game. It's one of those games, bro. Like, oh, man, I'm thinking so much about it. He says, I'm completely wuss when it comes to survival horror games. I just don't play them as I can't handle the panic of them. However, I love Remedy games, so I know you both are playing Alan Wake 2. How is it? I've heard it's not too bad at making the ammo and batteries scarce. I really want to jump in, but I'm scared, guys. Scared. I mean, the ammo and stuff is way scarcer than like the Resident Evil games. And if you can't handle the Resident Evil games remakes, then you can't handle this one, right?
Yeah, I think yeah, there like in the first couple of hours, without giving stuff away, I think this is proving itself. It's scarier. It's scary in a different way to Resident Evil, but yeah, I think if you can't handle Resident Evil, I think I would put Alan Wake in the same category, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the scarcity of ammo and stuff and batteries become less, or you get more of them as you play. But like, yeah, I was like sweating. I'm like, I only got 2 batteries left for my flashlight. I only got like 10 bullets left and like 5 shotgun shells. I was like, I hope I find some more, you know? I only got like 2 healing items. Oh, and you can only like manually save in certain spots. Very much like save rooms in Resident Evil. You have to like find places that you can like turn on a generator and the lights come on and then you can save inside the light. You know, the game has checkpoints and stuff, but for make manual saves, you can only save in certain spots. Omen says, "Happy Friday. We are 1 week from BlizzCon and the schedule is released. What do you think will be the biggest highlight of BlizzCon? Perhaps we could see an Odyssey appearance." I mean, yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the show. I think Odyssey is going to be part of that 2.5-hour opening keynote. Why do you need such a long opening keynote for? Something's happening.
Something is happening.
A new Xbox game is about to be revealed. Dude, I like the fact that Satya basically said during the investors call that their holiday is good with like Xbox first party games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Forza Motorsports. The fact that
he is such a troll, man. Satya Nadella is such a damn troll. He's already calling Call of Duty first party, which is hilarious.
I mean, technically
it is.
Technically it is.
But he says it with that cheeky smile.
I know, right? Yeah. Like when he cheeky smiles, like, well, if it's about competition, let us compete. Wink, smile, right?
Yeah.
And you know that didn't sit well with people. Dude,
you
guys didn't fucking make this shit fucking stupid. You just require everything. You know, they get so angry. They get like their veins are just pushing out of their face. They're just so upset all the time.
It's funny. It's funny.
James Wiseau says, firstly, just want to send my thoughts out to my homies in the States who may have been affected by the recent attack. Hope you're all well. Secondly, there was a like massive shooting in Maine. I think like 22 people died or something like that. Secondly, Hi-Fi Rush, Hogwarts Legacy, Octopath 2, Jedi Survivor, Diablo 4, Zelda, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, Mario, and Alan Wake. Those are just my favorite games this year, let alone the countless others. Have we seen a real turning point in the gaming industry where all of the world's best creatives are now working in it? Is this now the premium way to consume media? I work in TV and film. Honestly, I think the storytelling alone is much better in gaming. And trust me, the budgets for AAAs now rival that of blockbusters. Is 2023 a start for what to expect from games in the years to come? I mean,
that's a good question. I mean, I don't know. Are the best games as good as the best movies? That is a deep question.
If every year is just as good as this year, we're in for an amazing time. But as for developers, though, how many layoffs were there in the gaming industry this year? Thousands upon thousands.
There was a lot of layoffs, but like, I don't think that's a result of I don't think that's a result of reduced demand. I think what that is some companies grew too quickly during the pandemic to take advantage of situations that no longer exist. And
Okay.
like they're kind of thinking like, oh God, we need to downsize now. We're too big or whatever, blah 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 blah. And maybe that kind of sucks, but at the same time, I kind of feel like there's so much demand for game devs and there's so much demand for content that I would at least hope that most game devs will find new work quite rapidly because there is so much demand. So yeah, I think there is turmoil in the industry and there's turmoil in the creative industry too, because they're on strike right now, and technological advancements with AI is also creating upheaval, and people don't know what's going to happen and all that kind of stuff, and people are striking to make sure that they have better pay and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of disruption right now. Um, but I think like everything will even out, and I think the gaming is my personal favorite creative industry personally, but I think like there is still some maturing that gaming needs to undergo with regards to um certain themes in games are really badly handled. I think sometimes um like romance and relationships is often super cringe in games. I think Rand might agree with me. But
Mm.
sometimes games handle some of these things not very well, and they could be done in a much better way, you know. Um, but as the industry moves forward, like it gets constantly better, and as the technology improves, I think eventually gaming will just be the de facto way that people experience entertainment. And I think that's why one of the reasons Microsoft's invested so heavily in this space is because I think Microsoft believes that too. It's interesting.
Okay, we have I mean, hell, if next year's like half as good as this year, that's still an amazing year. Like 2023 is absolutely killing it. It's not even over
Mhm.
yet. I mean, I don't expect Modern Warfare 3 to be good. I'm trying to even think of what even coming out the rest of the year. Like I know there's the Like a Dragon game, The Man with No Name, RoboCop. I don't really think there's any. I'm not saying that Call of Duty's not a heavy hitter, but critically, I'm not even sure there's really that big of any heavy hitters left the rest of this year. But I mean, if like the next
No, no,
year,
no. Thaumaturge, man. Thaumaturge is coming out this year. Do not sleep on that game.
okay, we have Tommy saying, "Happy Friday, fellas. Are you guys dressing up for Halloween? If not, did you have a favorite costume growing up that you wore? Have a good weekend." And Alan Wake had my cheeks clenched within the first 2 minutes. Were your cheeks clenched, or the guy you were watching playing were his cheeks clenched? No, I haven't dressed up in Halloween in a long time, but the one I always did was Freddy Krueger. I had the red and black sweater, I had the hat, I had the
Oh, really?
disfigured face, and I had the claw, and it scared the living hell out of my sister. My sister Sarah, she would cry anytime we so
Oh
yeah.
man, that's
Yeah.
quite mean.
What about you? What was your Halloween costume?
Halloween's not as much as an institution in England, I think.
Okay.
So I only like little kids do it. Little kids dress up for Halloween, and also like it's often students doing it for university and stuff. They do it. So like I haven't really dressed up for Halloween since I was a little, really young kid. But I was dressed up as a zombie man
Okay.
because it was just because it was easy. I guess. I don't know.
Oh nine
I'm a
c
great
Mine
zombie.
says, "Hey guys, hope you're both doing well on this fine Friday. With the reshuffle in management and with Kotick out the door soon, who do you think will take over ABK overall? And who do you think they will report to? My guess would be Mike Ybarra takes over, and he maybe reports to Matt Booty as his new role oversees Bethesda as well."
We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah,
I think ABK will answer direct to Matt Booty. I don't think there'll be a replacement, but Rand disagrees.
I think there'll be a replacement. Maybe it's the person right underneath Bobby. Maybe it's the president of Activision becomes a CEO, and just like Jamie Leader, who's the CEO of Bethesda, he just reports straight to Matt. But somebody's going to run it. I don't see it being Mike. Mike's going to run in Blizzard. I don't see Mike taking over all of Activision and Blizzard.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll find out in the new year, so we don't got that long to wait. Radimus Cisco says, "Hello guys, hope you're having a good day. First, if in case it didn't come up in the episode, don't forget about Scalebound." Oh, Jesus Christ. But the big important question is, when is Jez going to stop playing Blizzard games?
Never.
Xbox legally acquired ABK, so even if there's more stuff surrounding this topic, the paper have been signed. Jez, if you keep evading this, someone will go back and clip it.
What do you mean?
I mean, we made the bet where if it happened that you would have to not play Blizzard games the rest of the year. No World of Warcraft and
Well, the FTC
no
court case, bro.
Diablo and none of that stuff.
FTC court case, bro.
Yeah, okay. And Donataku says, "Am I the only one?"
Oh, Rand, I just want to mention quickly. Jeff Grubb said something that I thought was funny on his podcast.
I mean, Jeff Grubb is a funny dude. He's always funny.
He's a funny dude. He said, he described me and other Blizzard fans as Blizzard people, and I realized that I'm a Blizzard person. That is how best to describe me.
You're a Blizzard person.
I'm a Blizzard person. There's just Blizzard people out there, dude.
Okay. You know, he's
just
not
like
wrong.
Nintendo people.
Donataku says, "Am I the only one who thinks it's weird that AAA devs are getting praised for providing less content to keep the quality high when there are plenty of games that give you 50 hours of high-quality content? Elden Ring, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Baldur's Gate 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Persona 5 Royale, just to name a few. Long games should be quality throughout the experience and should be docked for having mediocre content, but I don't believe AAA devs should be awarded for providing less content than usual for a AAA game, no matter how quality it is." I'm assuming this Don's talking about what I said about Spider-Man 2, that I felt like they lessened the blow to the game and didn't have the stupid-ass side missions that cluttered the first game and kind of cherry-picked it and didn't... I sort of feel like that's what Don's talking about here. I don't know. The thing is, I don't want to play Spider-Man 2 for 50 hours. It's not. I don't think it's a game that works for 50 hours. Some games just don't work for that long. Right? And let's be like Elden Ring. Let's be honest. As much as I love Elden Ring, those dungeons, those things were copy paste. You know what I'm talking about, right, Jez?
Yes.
Those I forget the catacombs. They just copy and pasted it and just changed the layout.
Game,
Wait, they were the catacombs, right?
In what game?
Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of tile based, so
yeah,
like
exactly.
it's the same.
So they weren't like handcrafted content, like like the actual levels were. It was just like Elden Ring still had, tile based things where some of those catacombs weren't good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like some games can support it. Like I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, but some people say Red Dead Redemption 2 is too long. I don't know. It's just like, how long does a game need to be? I guess. Is it better if the game's shorter and it's a high quality experience and it's more memorable, or do you need the game to stretch out to be 40, 50 hours? Sometimes, like, I think Spider-Man Miles Morales is a better game than Spider-Man 1 simply because I think the shorter nature of it is a plus. Like, they're able to do, like, better, like, they're able to do more interesting things more often in Miles Morales and not have all the stupid side content that weighs it down a little bit. So the pacing of the game is way better, and that leads to a much better player experience.
Yeah,
so,
a lot of the dungeons in Diablo, even they're just copy and pasted like relentlessly. Sometimes you don't need that much, and I think Diablo definitely suffers from it. But I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but not everybody is from Software. Not everybody is the Zelda team, right? Not everybody's Rockstar. You're literally talking about the creme de la creme, essentially, of AAA game development. And sometimes when AAA devs chase after that open world aspect, they kind of bloat their worlds because they want people to keep on playing with it. And I think sometimes there's a fine line between being too short and too long. there's like a sweet spot, 25 hours for Spider-Man 2 for just 100%. Really damn good. I think they nailed it. Now, if you just did the main story and was 8 hours, I think you probably could get it done in 9 hours or so. If you just mainline the main story, is that long enough for $70? Is that a good experience? You'd have to ask the person who paid $70 for that. But I don't think every game needs to be that long. Period. And I don't want every game to be that long. So that's what I think. Well, Jez.
Yeah, it's there's a philosophical debate there because like, isn't Assassin's Creed Valhalla like the most played Assassin's Creed?
Yes, it is
because of how ridiculous.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla is like the best, like selling, most revenue made Assassin's Creed game of all time, and a lot of people call it bloated, right? Because of how much there is to do. But I mean, hey, I guess people enjoy it, right? I don't know. Just James says, "Hey Jez, how long are you on Persona? How long are you on Persona 5? Not long left. He ain't finishing that. Come on, bro. Come on, Just James.
Finish it, bro. You.
Yeah.
Finish it, bro."
But I think we've hit everything I wanted to talk about. So that would be the show, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. For more content. Hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/XB2 to get your questions in, or to vote on the gameplay poll, or to get early access to Xbox 2+1 episodes, or exclusive access to Xbox Ultimate. We got trying to get some guests for next month. And
we're exploring.
Yeah, we're exploring. Jez says tune in on Friday for Odyssey. Xbox fans will want to watch BlizzCon on Friday next week and then immediately watch Xbox 2 afterwards. So, yeah, with that said, thank you guys so much for being here. Love you all. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Play Alan Wake 2, please. We'll talk about it next week because I'm going to finish it. Jez probably won't, but I will. So please play Alan Wake 2. And have a great weekend. Keep it gaming, guys. Later.
Later, guys.